Live from KG5 for the Victory Cup semi-final. It's South Hobart taking on Hobart Jeep Zebras in what should be an absolute humdinger of a Victory Cup semi-final. I'm Damien Gill from FFT, bringing this one live to you with the Drewster Rooster, Andrew Cooling alongside me. Drewster, lovely night for football.
Absolutely perfect night for football, Damien. It is very clear, not a lot of wind. And really on a night where in the AFL we've got a completely pointless game, you may as well watch this cracker in the Victory Cup between two very much full-strength teams in Hobart Zebras and South Hobart. As you said, it just should be a cracking contest. Plenty at stake, and both sides really as strong as they've been all season. They've had some entertaining battles this year. Of course, last time they met, South Hobart just blew them out of the water in the first 15 minutes. I'd be really surprised if that happened again tonight. I think that they've strengthened since then, Zebras. I think they're looking a lot more solid, and I reckon that might just be playing in their minds a bit. There will be that burning determination just to, I suppose, exercise a few demons, because they really didn't give a good account of themselves the last time these two teams met.
Redemption twofold for the Zebras for mine. I think that 13-minute horror show at Darcy Street will be playing on their mind, but also redemption of a season that's a near miss, really. They were the early pace setters, but then they became largely irrelevant because they couldn't drop from third, but they couldn't get up to second or beyond. They had to be wondering what if it wasn't for that five match period where they just couldn't get points due to what was an injury crisis. So I think they've got a huge point to prove this evening at KG5.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, they were decimated by injuries early in the year, and obviously they've added a couple of players in Wello and Sherman later in the season. So with the return of injured players, those two into the mix, it's a much stronger team than we saw struggling through that little period, which really did, I suppose, cost them a tilt at the title. They would have been well in the race if not for that year thing. Their best football has shown that he's well and truly good enough to compete with your South Hobarts, to compete with your Olympians. They're absolutely on that level. There's not a lot between all three teams, really. And it's going to be who shows up on the night and performs. It really could go either way. A real coin flip game for mine, this one.
Yeah, it's one of those rivalries over the last couple of years where form, league position, wins and losses heading in, all of that really doesn't play into it. It comes down to two teams that just love to play each other, have good animosity out on the pitch, love to hate each other, I think. And just really go hell for leather, and it'll come down to which team rocks up on the night. We've seen Zebras are good enough to beat South Hobart. They beat them on the opening night of the Victory League this season. They've beaten Olympia twice. They have everything there pretty well to compete with the big boys and be a real top team, but it's whether they put it on show. And we've seen that with Zebras this year. It depends which Zebras rocks up. If they rock up and let South Hobart have an easy 15 minutes, it could be all she wrote.
Absolutely. South Hobart were clinical in the opening stages of their last meeting, and plenty at stake here tonight with a spot in next week's final up for grabs, and really looking forward to this one. Crowd building here at Darcy Street, not Darcy Street, I'm on about KG5. Last time they met was at Darcy Street.
If the crowd is building at Darcy Street, they better hurry up and get here because the game's not on.
I'll tell you what, the South Hobart faithful might have erected the big screen here because it appears to be more of a Zebras crowd. I suppose their home ground of sorts, really. Despite supposedly being a nominally neutral venue for this game, it is their home ground.
It is their home ground, so they get home ground advantage, admittedly. And the Zebras, a lot of Zebras youngsters piling in to watch the big boys. I think South Hobart too have a point to prove. They've won the last two Victory Cups, so I reckon that's maybe something they want to keep a stranglehold on, make it 3 in a row. And also, we all know they missed out in the Victory League, and as much as winning the Lacazette Cup and experiencing the FFA Cup was great, that's the big one, the Victory League. You want to win that they missed out on that, and they'd have a burning desire to right some wrongs.
Yeah, I reckon it stung them a little bit. Obviously, after they beat Olympia in that what seemed like the title decider and looked like they were going to win the title, to lose it from there, it certainly would have stung them pretty deeply, I reckon, South Hobart. So they'll be absolutely determined to finish their season on a high. Obviously, Olympia have got National Premier League. For both of these sides, this is the last time they'll play this season if they lose. So plenty to play for both sides here tonight, and season's on the line. It could be all over. It could be Mad Monday for them coming up, or it could be a chance of silverware in the final. So very intriguing, this one.
Drewster, let's get on to tips. I think, personally, I'll just put mine out there first before I'll throw it over to you. I think Zebras. I think they've got more to play for, as silly as that sounds. I think South Hobart, yeah, they'd like to win the Victory Cup, but for Zebras, they haven't won anything this year. And it'd be a strange old season for them. Well, pretty typical of them, I hate to say, if they come away empty-handed, because they've been better than that. And they probably warrant something in the cabinet over at the Italian club, and I think they'll be too good tonight, and I think the big Shermanator might just rise up. I'm really looking forward to his battle with Dogger Brown. Two fierce customers, love a challenge, go in hard, love a bit of lip. It's going to be one to watch.
Fair chance of a yellow card or two, or a red card in that duel, I'd imagine, Damien. It's certainly going to be one we'll look out for. Some very physical players out there, and as we've noted on, not a lot of love lost between these two teams, so I'd certainly expect a feisty contest. Unlike the last time they met, I reckon, being a cup game, we might have that usual feeling out period in the first 15 minutes. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a slightly cagey, slow type of opening to the game. I don't think either team will be throwing too many players forward, and I reckon it'll be low scoring. They've plenty of firepower on both of these sides, but I think this will be a really close game with maybe a goal or two enough to win it for either side. I'm going to go with South Hobart. I just think, I suppose, winning is just, it's part of their culture there. They've just got a knack. They've obviously won the Lacquer Cup this year. They've shown they're a good cup team, plenty of experience out there. It really could go either way. It's really tantalising proposition, this match, but I'm going to lean South Hobart 2-1. I just think that experience, that extra bit of class, will see them over the edge tonight.
For me, half the battle is done upstairs for the Zebras. If they're switched on, they're a team to be reckoned with, but we've seen in big games they can go to sleep and really get punished for it, and I just hope they turn up tonight. I said I tipped them, but Zebras South Hobart games generally go two ways, either South Hobart in a blowout or South Hobart or Zebras in a tight one. So very rarely does Zebras get away with a big blowout. I think if it's nice and tight, I think Zebras are good value for money, but if South Hobart get a couple early, watch out. We might move on to the lineups. Drewster, I'll get you to take us through the home team if you can. The Hobart Jeep Zebras, you got them there? You got South Hobart.
South.
I'll
you
fire
go
away with Zebras. So the custodian in goal is Graham Wright. Had a very good season as Wright. Probably had a down day last time these two teams met. A lot of set-piece damage. That's going to be a key thing for the Zebras. They were asleep at set pieces. Their marking was horrible. That's something they'll want to get right, and I'm sure they've done work on it at training. The back four, you'd expect to see Fag, Tyler Harrison, what a player, in the Team of the Year announced midweek. Also Dwayne Walsh, rampaging fullback, and Matthias Toghill, one of our favourites, the big T-Pain in midfield. I reckon it's going to be Jaden Hay to begin with. It'll be interesting to see whether him and Fag switch at any point. Jordan Muller, who just goes about his business. I like Muller. He's unassuming, just gets the job done, plays the simple ball a lot. Really does a good job. Guy Buele also in there. He's a bit similar in the sense that he won't try anything miraculous. He played the simple option, he played cleanly, and he very rarely gives up possession. Not a game breaker, but a really serviceable customer. Up top will be the Shermanator, James Sherman. And then we'll have Kurt Engels, the Engel Grinder, probably my favourite player in the comp outside Townhouse. What a player he is, can just bust the game open. We saw that opening night. They switched him from defence to attack, and he really was the difference on that occasion. And also Adam Sunday McEwen, who doesn't mind a goal but hates a penalty. Missed 2 last week, so I don't expect to see him on penalty duties, but he might take one if it goes that deep into penalty shootout.
Indeed, and they'll be playing, of course, this South Hobart side tonight. That's been very strong all season. In goals, Kane Pearce. Could potentially be his last game for the club. We don't know what his plans are next year, but it could be the final bow for Kane Pearce if they were to be eliminated tonight. One of the best keepers in the competition. He is an absolute star. And he might have to make a few big saves tonight against this Zebras attacking quartet that is pretty lively. The back four for South Hobart, 4 centre-backs nominally. Matthew Lewis and Hugh Ludford have played the full-back positions of late. And centrally, of course, Oscar Thomas and Dogger Brown. They've really formed a really good partnership, those two. The young and old, if you will, there. Experienced campaigner with young Oscar Thomas, and he's a real player for the future to watch out for. He's come into the side midway through the year and just sees that centre-back spot, even with Ludford and Lewis, who's, I suppose, more these days a converted full-back, and made it his own. In midfield together, the pairing of Kobe Kemp and Hugh Undy. They've been a pretty constant pairing throughout the back half of the season. Kobe Kemp, one of the real finds of the season for South Hobart. He's a holding midfielder, but he certainly has a bit of goal-scoring prowess about him.
Can roost him.
A couple of his goals have gone very close to goal this season, beaten out by Shea Hickey, of course, but he had a couple that were right up there in contention. He loves a long-range pop, so look out for him. Sitting behind Braden Mann will be big Alex Lazinski. He does it all, Lazinski, big Al. He operates as the target man when they've got the ball. When the opposition have it, look for him to drop back and kind of clamp down on an opposition playmaker. Kenny loves to deploy him in that role, just trying to negate the influence of an attacking midfielder. Interesting to see who he goes to, but a very big part of this team is Albie Lazinski. He's sitting in behind the competition Golden Boot winner, Braden Mann. Not a lot more needs to be said about Braden Mann. Quite simply the most dangerous striker in the state, has been for a while. I suppose Andy Brennan's got a fair case while he was down here, but what a player he is. And supplying him from the flanks, Chris the Wrecking Ball Hunt, another stellar season, polled very well in the awards towards the end of the season. And on the other flank, Darcy Hall, who has also really been a standout player on that right wing, a real breakout candidate this year, and they'll really, I suppose, it'll be a fascinating battle against Walsh and Tolku. We've got two very accomplished fullbacks who do like to get forward against two attacking wingers who are so important to their team's supply line, really, for the front two. So it's going to be a really cracking duel between those pairs of players, and could go a long way to deciding this match.
I'd like to see Tolhill on the same flank as Chris Hunt, because there's something behind that. Not only are they good friends, but Chris Hunt actually goes out with Matthias' sister, so that I just think it'd be a funny duel just for that. Maybe a bit of banter back and forth.
Maybe a bit of studs left in, who knows.
So the referees, look at this setup from Jimmy Hordle. Get a look at that dude. I'm not sure about it at all. There's not a lot of hair actually being bunned in there.
He's tried the man bun, but there's just not a lot of hair there to pull it off. It's a strange choice from Hordle, and hopefully his decision-making on the pitch is a little bit better than that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Top knot, no good. I think I was quoted last week as saying a top knot should only be worn with the accompaniment of a samurai sword, and I stand by it. I reckon they are garbage. But back onto the game, Drewster. I think the opening 15 is going to be really crucial here. It goes without saying so much as that when they last met at Darcy Street, the whole game was over in that period. Chris Hunt's delivery from the set piece was superb, but it was more the marking of the Zebras that really let them down. I think they're going to really put a focus on the start of that.
Yeah, set pieces will be something we'll look out for, because it was absolutely diabolical last time they're marking at set pieces. It was just unacceptable, really, for a team at this level. And I've got no doubt that it would have worked on that. It would have been a real focus, but you know, you can do all the planning you want on the training track. How will they execute? And South Hobart will certainly be looking to take full advantage once again. They've got some big, strong lads out there. They've got the wrecking ball, Christopher Hunt, delivering the ball in, one of the best set-piece experts in the competition. So that'll be an area which South Hobart will definitely feel they can exploit tonight. They've done it in the past, and I suppose having a back four, which is 4 centre-backs nominally, you know, that gives you an advantage of set pieces. You've got big Albie Lazinski and Braden Mann. It gives you so many options, and it's very hard to mark them all. They are a really good set piece side, South Hobart, and Zebras, in fairness, outside of the last time they met, they've been one of the more solid defensive units in the Victory League. So it was very much out of character. and there's no real wind to speak of. A slight breeze across the ground here, but nothing that will really impact it too much, so I wouldn't expect that to really affect the delivery of the ball as it did the last time they met.
No, it's a real still evening here at KG5. Mild, just a really nice night for football. Two cracking teams in terms of the lineups. They're full strength. They should be at the top of their game. Zebras probably come in under better form. South Hobart just grinding out a 2-1 win in a pretty fiery clash with Somerset last week, who made them work right to the end. Zebras a commanding 5-0 win over Kingborough Lions, and they also finished the season pretty well. Not that South Hobart didn't, but they did have that hiccup against the Rangers. I think Zebras will be really, really keen to get some redemption and get something in the trophy cabinet. So I think they're going to be really energised. But so too South Hobart. They've got a point to prove, it has to be said. So it's going to be a fascinating contest, and both quality teams. Interested to get your thoughts on where the game will be won and lost, Drew. It's so often the midfield. I'm not sure whether, in my opinion, that's where it's going to be won today. I don't think either team has the best midfield in the comp. Serviceable, but I think their threats are elsewhere. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the wide areas, as I touched on earlier, is really going to be key to this game. I think South Hobart's wingers are a big part of what they do attackingly, but you've got to say that Zebra's fullbacks, arguably, in my opinion, are the best fullback pairing in the competition in Tolkien and Walsh. I think combining them both, I'd be taking if it was a combination on offer. So I think that's going to be really key. At the other end, can the Zebras get out wide? Can Engels cause perhaps Huey Ludford a bit of trouble down that flank, exploit perhaps a slight lack of pace out there? That for me is going to be the real threat. We've seen Engels really turn it on, and that's going to be my matchup to look out for on the other flank. My
matchup, the Shermanator up against Dogger Brown. Two blokes that are just going to go in so hard. I'm hoping for a 50-50 tumbling in. We have kickoff as South Hobart get the game underway. It's Kobe Kemp who shifts wide to the right. Hugh Ludford, an early touch for the skipper. Drives along down the line, looking for Darcy Hall out there. He can't track it down as it trickles out of play. It was Hugh Undy even, I think. Yeah, it was Hugh Undy. So a throw in now for the Zebras. Comes in to the feet of Hay. He dishes inside in the bullseye. It's Sunday. McEwen who meets it out to the Pink Panther. Big Dwayne Walsh, the Dwayne pipe. In he goes. Receives back from Hay with a bit of a spin. He tries to keep it moving. Does Walsh. It's delivered down the line from Lewis, but it's sloppy stuff and it's out of play for a throw in.
Interesting to see Hunt operating out on the right-hand side and Hawk starting on the left. That's the reverse of what we normally see. So we are getting the battle that you wanted to see, Hunt versus Toggill going at each other.
Yeah, I think Kenny's just heard that. And I'm backing Matthias in that battle.
It'll be an interesting one. Hunt will look to cut inside onto his left midfield as this one comes over the top and Walsh's burst forward down the right. Can he direct a crossing? He goes inside there of Hall. Some good work now. Lays it back to Sunday. It's a pretty tame effort though, and Pearce swallows that one up and he'll look to get things moving immediately.
A real give-me there for Pearce. He's in the very nice tropical green. Throws out. Finds Lewis, who loses it. It comes from McEwen to Muller, who shifts it nicely along the deck. Finds Hay, who tries to weave his way through the South Hobart midfield. He can only find McEwen with an outstretched leg, who tips it out. Out for another throw in. Lewis on it. Receives back from Undy. Just nudges it back into his path. Maybe asked a bit of Undy. It's Sherman to McEwen. He looks to breach the box. At the edge of the box, he's smothered by a whole group of orange shirts. They try and see it out through Undy, and then Muller gifts it back. Lewis marauding forward, finds man, back for Hall and back inside for Undy. He finds Thomas, and it's Kemp. He drops it back to the centre back in Dogger Brown. He bursts forward, plays a long diagonal. Should pick out man. He's got onto this with a nice first touch from the head. Lofts one inside, nobody home. It's swept away from the Zebras' defence, but it's there with Hugh Undy. Dishes inside for Hall, gives and goes to Hunt. It's sent away from Fag. He's looking for Muller. Good body work from Kemp, sees it back, and it's Brown now from the bullseye.
Another long ball. Another long diagonal, seeking out Darcy Hall. What a beautiful touch. He lays it off, and the shot came from man, but it was blocked. It'll be a corner. And again, we see South Hobart, Brown launching the long diagonal forward, and that's going to be a feature of their play. They are a team that do play a lot of long balls, South Hobart, and causing some early problems there. A silky touch from Darcy Hall to bring that down.
Yeah, and even the dish, to be honest, inside was a very nice give from Hall. I'm not really sure what the Zebras were doing on that occasion. They should have killed the contest before it arrived, really, as Hunt dishes in short. It's Kemp who plays it inside. Seen away now. It's back from Hall, who's doing work both ways, really. It's from Lewis to Lazinski. He sells his former teammate and runs forward. Gives it straight back to Harrison, who pumps long and strong. Lewis sits under it. Off his right boot, it's McEwen who loses it. Hall spins with it. Collects a bit of McEwen in the process, says Hordle. It's a foul against the youngster.
So Zebras can look to get forward here. It's a pretty pulsating contest in the first few minutes here. Both teams looking to go at each other. And they'll play it across the back now. Fag spreads it out wide. He's Toghill on it. Goes inside looking for Jaden Hay. He gets it eventually. Now he looks up. What's he got ahead? He's got Sunday, but that was beautifully read there by Lewis stepping in and cutting that out. Very nicely defended there by Matthew Lewis.
Sharp from Boile in midfield. Just got some real swagger about him. The Cameroonian, look at this.
Played a lovely ball through here, and the cross comes in, and it's dealt with pretty convincingly in the end there by Big Dogger Brown. But Boile getting forward. He has a different long way out that's never testing Pearce, but got Damien very excited all the same. His man Guy Boile, he did predict he would score a blooter from 40 yards. He's doing his best there, and wouldn't expect to see Boile bombing forward too often. I reckon as the game goes on, he'll be more reserved than that, but he certainly played pretty advanced early on.
Nice deft touches, doesn't he? He's not gifted with a great turn of pace, so you'd think he sits in that holding role as it's played forward from Tyler Harrison over the top of the South defence, or it was meant to be. It's Brown who brings down for Kemp. In for Hunt. He does well with a bit of trickery. Finds Kemp again, and it's Hall now who bursts away down the left. It's with man. Always looking to cut inside and get the ball moving. He's looking for Lazinski. It's headed away from him by Toghill. It's picked up from Undy from the byline. He looks to square it up. Seen away for Zebra head. And Kemp just very easily shifts it centrally out to the left, and it's Matt Lewis who brings it back in, chested down nicely from Lazinski, but it's Muller hot on his heels, and Zebra's away now as Kurt Engels tries a long diagonal that doesn't come off, and is straight into the green wheels of Kane Pearce. Plays it out to his defence, and South Hobart will regroup.
Pearce spreads it out wide. Lewis will compete with the Dwayne Piper, who beat him out there and then got it moving quickly to Sherman. He's got Engels in some room here if he can feed him through, but reading it well was Brown. Just a little bit unaware that he had Brown over his back shoulder there, Engels. It was Ludford, I apologise to him. Very nicely defended, but it's showing good awareness, and Engels the opposite there. They get the ball back here, those Zebras. Muller on the ball, goes to Sherman. Braden Mann tracking back hard there, plays it centrally. It's a lovely ball, but Oscar Thomas was awake to the threat. Now Mann looks up and sees absolutely nothing, so he just chips it into the corner and gives Darcy Hall the task, and Dwayne Walsh just puts it safely out of play. See Mann looking up there had absolutely nothing on offer, so just opting to ship one out in front for the run. Here's Walsh with his throw in back, and they'll just pass it around the back. South Hobart pressing fairly high at the moment. It's always interesting to see how far they sit off.
Drew, so I'm interested to get your thoughts on Dwayne Walsh's wheels. I always think if you've got a real loud set like that, you've got to play 50% better to be any good.
Look, they're very loud, but I'll let a little bit more of the contest flow before I make judgment. He is an outstanding player, Walsh, and I think if you're a good player, flaunt it, wear whatever you want. You've got to back it up. They are outrageously loud, those wheels from Walsh, but he is an outrageously fast fullback who bombs up and down all day, and I enjoy his work, so fair play to the lad.
Yeah, real Pink Panther type setup.
That's on the ball over the top to Hunt. He's snuck in behind there. His touch took him back, though, and the Zebras can regroup. Does well just to control the ball and play it back there for Ludford. He'll go to Oscar Thomas as they shift it round the back. Thomas demanding someone to move for him. Didn't eventuate, so shifted across to Lewis, who tried to take on McEwen, but just took it straight out of play.
Good contest early. I'm really liking Jordan Muller's work. I think he's done some nice stuff early on. A good contest in defence as well, working hard both ways. It's Hay now who steals from Lewis, looks to burst away, but Brown's there to latch onto it. Takes it back for South Hobart, and they get away through Kemp and Hall. It's there with Undy. Probably sells Hall into a bit of trouble, to be honest, and it's out for the throw. Good pressure again from Muller.
Gave him the old look away pass there and fooled his own teammate, I think, Damien.
Yeah, it was an odd give for me because they were really cornering in on Hall, and it played right into their hands as they come through McEwen. Delivers through, I think there's a nutmeg through the legs of Brown there. It's not latched onto, but it's Pearce who gives straight to Hay. He tries a long bomb. Oh, and he swatted it. Pearce has completely misread it, and it's a goal to Jaden Hay. Pearce, he would like to have that one again. First he's thrown it straight to Hay, and Hay's wrapped onto it. Pearce thinks it's going wide, and it's clattered in off the post.
That's an absolute howler there from Kane Pearce. He won't be happy with that, and Hayes absolutely made him pay. It was sloppy distribution. And it's 1-0 Zebras here. They take the lead. It had been a pretty pulsating opening 10 minutes. Both sides getting forward and creating chances. That's just sloppy from Pearce. And it's the Zebs who take the early lead. They've looked hungry. They've looked up for this contest. And that will just buoy them even more. Will South Hobart respond here? Here's Undy dancing through. He's got Ludford bombing on if he can pick him out. Engels tracking back. It wasn't a very good ball, though. Straight out of play, did.
What?
Ludford, no favours there. He's making a good run.
I wouldn't mind saying that. What a peculiar opening goal. Kane Pearce, I'm a big fan of his. He's a great goalkeeper, and he beats himself up. I can tell you that when he concedes goals. He would be really frustrated with that. First of all, he actually gave the ball straight to Jaden Hay, and then Jaden Hay's just put it wide of him. It wasn't an overly venomous strike from Hay. It was more placement than purchase, and I don't know whether Kane Pearce couldn't do anything about it or think he just couldn't get there. As we see this challenge, Thomas laid in on Hay, and it's a foul, and it'll be a set piece for the Zebras. But Pearce more or less looked like he just left it, thinking it was going wide, and it snuck in off the post. Zebras lead.
Yeah, I don't know if he just couldn't get to it, or as Bello plays in, it's a very flat and ugly delivery, and it's dealt with by Lazinski. Yeah, I'm not sure if he could have got to it or not. Tough one from our angle. Depth perception not great, but certainly you'd expect him to have a crack at trying to save it at least. But might just have been misjudgment. The real error was in the throw that went straight down Hay's throat, and hasn't he made them pay as Zebras? That man Hay on the ball again, shifts it across to Sunday, and a chance to cross here for Toghill. It's a pretty poor one though. Sold him short. Brown eventually deals with it, and Mann will give chase. Getting in ahead of him was Fag though, and gets it to Toghill. Links up with Muller, who's been busy early. Toghill tries to cross, but well blocked off there by Hugh Undy. So Zebra's on top at the moment. They've got the lead. A bit of an edge in possession.
Amidst the confusion, I didn't give enough pump up for the celebration. Jaden Hay really pumped up, and he brought the boys in, and I think it said a fair bit about the determination of the Zebras.
Well, they've looked very hungry out there tonight. They've been buzzing about the pitch. They've been flying in for challenges. There's absolute commitment out there at the moment, and it's in stark contrast to what we saw the last two times these met. They have rounded into some pretty good form at the end of the year. They're carrying it on nicely. And they've got the jump on South Hobart here. How will the Lacka Celtic Cup champions respond? Of course, they won that trophy earlier this year. The Zebras looking for their first piece of silverware. Lazinski flicks on. And it's the Zebras again in attack. They're really piling it on at the moment. Sherman's in space. He could double the advantage, but his first touch was appalling. Just too heavy from Sherman. That could have been 2-0. South Hobart 6s and 7s at the back, and it is all Zebras at the moment, but man back the other way, and there's that man Muller again, shipping back. Yeah, he's been very busy all over the pitch early on.
He's been great, and Jaden Hay as well in midfield. I'd like to see, just before that, Jaden Hay just cut a couple apart with some nice movement and a good burst. That's a real asset in the game of Jaden Hay. He just breaks away, real haste. Comes down the line. It's Hall. It's squeezed between him and the Dwayne Pipe. It's out of play for a throw-in.
Just compare the midfield threes at the moment. Muller and Hay against Kemp, Lazinski and Undy. It's pretty obvious who's having more influence.
Yeah, I think Kemp's the only one that could really hold his head up high in that 3v3 at the moment. It was a 3v3 tag team. They're doing pretty well at the moment. No finisher just yet, but got them on the ropes as Muller steals and dishes to McEwen, and they're away now. The Black and White Army, it's a sloppy effort from McEwen. Took about 2 touches too many, and Oscar Thomas said thank you very much and sent it up the line. Chris Hay already some pointed directions to McEwen.
That ball very nearly stayed in, only just ended up trickling over after hitting the flag there. That could have been interesting. Here's Fag sauntering forward. We see McEwen on the sideline.
He's taping up those boots. Always a good excuse, isn't it, when you don't hit it nicely. Tape, as it's delivered long down the line, it's Sherman who's onto it. Delivers in an absolute no one home. Sherman cutting a very, very angry figure.
I think he was just asking where his striker was. His striker was down on the bench getting his boots fixed. That's why there was no one in there.
Exactly right. Thomas on the ball now of the Oscar variety. Of course, former South Hobart player Harrison Thomas, a substitute for the Zebras this evening. Been pretty good since switching to the black and white. Maybe a lean month or so, and sees himself on the pine with Buele preferred. And Buele maybe had a shaky start, but he's proved to be a solid citizen. Throw in now from Walsh. It's a good contest from Harrison and Mann, but it's Harrison who comes out with some real smart footwork. Just holds his body up and turns Mann inside out. It's out now for Fag. Not too many questions asked of this Zebras defence thus far. This is played forward. Picked up from Hunt inside. It's Lewis who has to come and get it. No one really coming in an orange shirt to do the work in midfield. It's pumped long for Lazinski. He brings it down for his winger. It's actually Ludford who delivers through, and it's Tyler Harrison, no-nonsense approach, ships it out of play and out for a throw-in.
Yeah, just the distribution from the back hasn't been great from South Hobart. They've turned the ball over a bit too much. Some good pressure from the Zebras players flying in, but passing's been off, and they've not been able to get forward as often as they would have liked in the opening 15 here. Still plenty of time, though. So wrestle back the momentum. As the throw comes from Ludford, he sets it out in front of Hunt, but reading that well was Muller. Chopped it out and got it to Engels. Tolgill, his ball deflects out of play. Really impressed with Muller's work. And there's plenty of finger pointing going out there from South Hobart at the moment. They're not happy with the way things are going. They do seem a little bit disorganised. So the long throw comes in towards Sherman, chested it down. Now just thumped forward there by Tolgill. Thomas can cut that off, but his head was almost picked out by Buele. Reading that well was the Dwayne Pipe. Oh, his touch was heavy. Just a little bit soft. Finds his way forward to Buele. Beautiful pass from Buele. Here's Engels with a drive. Just wide and nearly 2-0. Guy Buele with some influence there, but again, it was half-hearted attacks at the ball from South Hobart. They're not as hungry as Zebras out there, and it's obvious. They need to address that. They are a lot more committed going for the ball, these Zebras players, and just shirking the contest a little bit for buying a few South players.
A really tidy leave, that one from Kane Pearce, but I bet you he's having second thoughts around it. Just after that last goal that was let in, it's Muller now. They drive forward again. It's out on the right. McEwen has to run from centrally to pick it up. He's on it now. Lewis for company. Looks for Hay short. Delivers into the edge of the box. It's Muller who gets it, but Lewis steals. Does well for South Hobart. Hall forward for Mann, who's had to really come back into his defensive half to get any sort of possession. It's been a really positive start for the Zebras. They're well and truly on top of this contest for mine. And I tell you what, I'm really liking the work of their midfield. That's where it's being won, and I didn't think that would be the case. As Mann now, nice bit of work, nutmegs Hay and finds Kemp. Expert delivery, finds his skipper, who just lets it run down the line, looking for Hunt out there, and he's got Toghill hot on his heels. Sees it out. Of course, Zebras have 12 men, really. Sean Toghill on the other side of the pitch gives them plenty as a supporter. There's no better one in Tasmania. Yeah. I don't know how he goes a whole 90 minutes. As it's thrown in and brought down from Lazinski. He turns to shoot. Handball in the process. It'll be a foul against the big fella.
They're not really creating much here. They've had rare ventures forward, but so far, nothing apart from a couple of pops from range for South Hobart. Zebra's looking pretty comfortable. Here's Tyler Harrison, outstanding young central defender. He's a long ball, picks out angles. His touch was heavy though. Now he's Hunt cutting inside, looks to play it through the middle, but again, it was Muller intercepting. He's been outstanding early. Now Harrison. And Sunday on it, he's surrounded by South Hobart bodies though, so plays it back to Walsh, who looked to do a 1-2 and a little leave there from McEwen. Fooled one defender, but there was no one there to get it, and in the end the referee will pull that back. It'll be South Hobart free, and they can try and get out. They've really struggled to build from the back. Their only real moments in attack have come from kind of long balls forward. Not getting their passing game going at the moment.
Really are playing long, aren't they? Bypassing their midfield a lot of the time as it's driven along looking for Lazinski. It's Walsh who picks it up and rattles it straight into man and out of play. So a throw in for the Zebras. Look at those hot pink wheels. Wonder whether he just accidentally grabbed his girlfriends on the way out this evening. Down the line it comes. Shermanator tries to pick it up. Swept clear by Undy. Out for another throw in. Big Dwayne Pipe, the Pink Panther. Down the line he's got McEwen offering. That is quickly closed down. He opts to go longer looking for Sherman, asking plenty of him amidst a sea of orange shirts. It's Muller now on the ball from a McEwen dish. It's out of play for a Zebras throw in the finish. Some conjecture around that one.
I think it was a rather half-hearted appeal from Muller for the ball there. Just put his hand up by instinct more than anything, but he's won it, so fair play to him, and Zebras shift it back. And Fair goes looking for Engels. Ludford really tight on him. That was Brown even. As here's Muller. Engels shifts it wide to the right. Lewis has got two to deal with here. Kemp comes across to deal with it. They do well to keep a hold of it. Here's Buelle, lovely pass to Engels. He shapes to shoot, but this one won't test Pearce. He gets his body behind it. Guy Buelle, every time he sneaks forward, just these quick short passes, they're causing some real problems for South Hobart. Growing influence on this contest is Guy Buelle, just picking his moments to get forward. Now here's Brown. He's got Kemp offering short. Can he drive them forward, Kemp? It's pretty stagnant ahead of him, though. They shifted out to Lewis. He's been good early. Now he shifts it down the left. He's got the wing commander, Hunt. They do a good job keeping it. That's a beautiful ball from Hunt. And they won't get anything, though. It's well defended. Well cut out. And Zebras try to get a count. It was a pretty poor ball for Engels and spills out. Ludford with the throw. Nothing on offer. There's just not as much movement on the South Hobart side of the ball compared with Zebras. I think the hunger factor definitely with the Zebs tonight. Here's Lazinski. Lovely little layoff there. Ludford trying to overlap, but he's crosses blocked. Probing here at South Hobart. Can they find something? Ludford might favour the long throw. They've got plenty of bodies in the box. 5 of them, in fact, he does. He gives it the old heave, but Fag flicks on. No one at the top of the box, so it's a foot race. It was won by Hunt. And Zebras again can clear, and Sherman leads in this race. Muller was getting forward, as was Walsh if he could get there. It was well dealt with in the end by Thomas, putting it out of play for a Lewis throw-in. Superb
defence again by Thomas. He's a really quality young player. Caught Sherman up. Sherman actually had a couple of yards on him to begin with. This is intercepted by Lewis. One of the pick of the South Hobart players so far. Navigates traffic well, delivers down the line, looking for Hunt. It's Tyler Harrison who meets it first, and then man steals from McEwen. Switches out to the right. It's Hall who tries to drive it down. Looks like McEwen maybe got a piece of man afterwards. I don't know whether the camera had gone away from that or whether we've got vision of it. But man's still down. It's Kemp back for Brown, and Kemp again as he crosses the hallowed plastic that is KG5. Takes a couple of yards and delivers in for Hunt, who tries to dish back. No one there. Engels through for Sherman. It's Brown who reads it well. He's on the ball now, Brown. Dinks inside. Hunt. What can he do? Dishes. Does well to turn out onto his left. and lofts a cross-come shot wide.
Look at the three central midfielders there just blocking the space at the top of the box. It's Hay, Welle and Muller all in front of their back four, dropping back, denying South Hobart the space to operate in. When they've gone up the other end, we haven't seen that from South Hobart. They've had a lot more space. We've seen Welle and Hay being able to dictate things from just outside the area. It's not been the case when South Hobart have gone forward. When they've gone forward, they've been met with pretty good resistance. Zinski turning. Kemp. There's a bit of a scramble for it, and Welle casually, as you like, just plays it out to Kurt Engels. Ludford did really well, though. He's probably taking the honours early on in that duel, but we'll keep an eye on that one as it goes on throughout the night. Should be a real fascinating matchup. Here's Undy. Pretty poor pass. It was easily read by Fag. And gets it to Engels. Again, Ludford really marking him tightly. Toghill. Back to Fag. And he launches this one forward. He's got no one there, so it'll just spill out of play.
Sorry, Drewster. 24 minutes gone. 1-0 lead to the Zebras. The goal coming very early on, 9th minute. It was Jaden Hay with the strike from long range after Kane Pearce more or less threw it straight to him and he sent it back the other way. Pearce, I don't know whether he could have got to it, but he gave up on it pretty early or / thought it was going wide. We'll see it again. Whack it was. And Pearce just agonisingly watched it go into his own net. Very, very filthy with his own work there. It's that man on the ball now. Pearce, long and strong. Harrison rises high, brings it down. Fag tries to move it the Zebras' way. It comes back in a ping-pong fashion. Toghill and Kemp picks it up in the bullseye. Nicely picks out Hall. Hall has Toghill for company. He'll try and beat him on the outside, and Toghill with some real agricultural work just cannons it straight into Hall and out for a goal kick. Watch this again. I'm over none of that. Boom! Whacks it into Hall and out.
Big kicks from Topart.
Was not mucking around.
Well,
his trickery.
He's a no-nonsense type defender, isn't he, Toghill? Real old-fashioned fullback. He'll fly in for a challenge, and he will put it out with conviction. And he wins a header here. Nice work in the middle there from Kemp to win a header. A series of them has led in the wing commander Hunt. He's into the box. Can he pick out man? Oh, well defended. Getting back was Fag. He read it well. He got in there. Was so close to being 1-1 there as Hunt sought to pick out man. Well defended. Danger still not completely dealt with though. They can reload now, South Hobart. Hunt shifts it out to the left to Lewis. He looks up. Well blocked by Walsh. The flick on is thumped out of there, and Sherman presents. Thomas tied on him and just did a nice job shifting him off the ball.
It was a nice movement from South Hobart, and I thought it was a nice ball from Hunt, but just well defended really in the end by the Zebras. As play goes on, it's Boyle on the ball in midfield. Very rarely gives it up, does Boyle. Maybe not the most creative player, but geez, he puts a fair price on the pill. Keeps possession a lot for the Zebras. Strides away now, gives it to Hayes. First touch lets him down, and it's with South Hobart as Undy picks it up, runs away, looks to play forward for Lazinski. Read like a book by Tyler Harrison, and he clears the danger.
Just starting to ask a few questions for the first time in this game, really, South Hobart. They're starting to wrestle back a little bit, control this game. Cody Kemp's influence is certainly growing, and putting this Zebras defence under a little bit of pressure, but so far they've answered well. Here's Thomas lobbing it over the top. Lewis has got him behind Walsh here. Has he got anyone to pick out? He doesn't. He finds only right. He'll eat that one up. Not Lewis's best cross. He's been pretty good so far today, though, Lewis. I can't recall him being beaten down his flank, and he's provided a good option going forward down this left-hand side. And some nice techers from him there. He'll be loving that, Matthew Lewis.
I think he's been, him and Kemp, I'll give decent honours to, and Ludford as well. They've been pretty good for South Hobart so far. It's played forward from Ludford. It's Hay who picks it up and finds Engels. He tries to get an early ball in. It's blocked well again by Ludford. It's been pivotal so far. Plays forward. It was Hall that did so. He was brought down in the process. So foul against the Zebras and a free kick for South Hobart. Brown on the ball now with a bit of time and space to assess options. Plays forward for Hall. A lot of flat feet for South Hobart. Not a heap of movement. You don't see players getting the ball and moving with purpose. It's getting the ball and wondering where's next. It's Brown now. He looks to go along, looking to seek out Lazinski. He wins well in the air, but it's straight to a zebra in Welle. Forward for Muller. It's cut out by Kemp and picked up by the Pink Panther in Walsh. McEwen does well, nips by Lewis, looks to lay in for Hay, who was bursting forward with purpose, and Thomas with a vital intervention. We'll see this again from McEwen. Did well to keep it alive, and then straight through the 80-little of the legs of Matt Lewis, and nice bit of movement there from McEwen.
Bailed out by Thomas, there was Lewis.
Just as we pumped him up, he dishes us that. As Kemp plays forward for Mann, who's done a lot of work in the opposite half to where you're accustomed seeing. And this one is a long effort. I think it was meant to be a cross, but turned out to be more of a really, really flat shot. So we see him cut inside. Just miscued that one.
Balls into the area from South Hobart haven't been of particular quality so far in this one. Certainly an area they need to lift. They are starting to get a foothold in this game now. They're starting to own a bit more of the ball and get those balls into the area, but they're not posing a massive threat with their crosses so far. But after Zebras controlled the early proceedings, South Hobart hitting back well, and the game's starting to even out, and it's just that goal, the difference at the moment from the keeping error, as Pearce will be all over this one.
He won't make another error tonight.
Well, he might not be able to afford to. His team already a goal down. Here is Thomas now, lumbering forward. Here goes the long ball again, and finds Lewis. He's done well. Man wants it short, and then turns inside. He's got 4 zebra shirts around him. He waltzes through and gets a shot off, and it's a good save by Wright. And Walsh clears. It was a dazzling run from Man. He was surrounded by zebras. Just got around Brele. Cut open, got that little bit of space to work the shot, and in the end it was a sharp piece of keeping. There's some lovely work from Man, and we see the threat that he poses every time he's running at defenders. He's an absolute nightmare for defenders to deal with, this Braden Man. He's Hunt, speaking of nightmares to deal with. He puts a dangerous ball in, but that's well dealt with by Fag, and now Hay picks it up. Couldn't find Sunday, and Brown just thumps this one forward. A bit too much of a task for Darcy Hall, and it will be a Zebras throw in.
Tell you what, tremendous save from the big Scott, Graham Wright. We see this from Man. Great fizzing drive, and the work beforehand, he made that an opportunity. There was nothing on show, really, and he just weaved through, cut them to absolute. Oh, as Tyler Harrison, acrobatic effort to bring this one down to Hay. He'll run away. Yeah, just cut them to pieces, did Man. He's done a power of work so far, but a lot of it in the defensive half. The more South Hobart can feed him in dangerous areas, the more chance they are. We saw his quality on show then. Great player as Kurt Engels looks to race away for the Zebras. Ping pong's back, and he gives inside for Hay, but South Hobart still, and they'll run away now. And it's a good switch up from left to right. It was off the boot of Hunt, but it's with Hall now. It's got Tog Hill for company. He puts the ball to the back post. It's a tantalising one. No one there to meet it. Picked up on the byline, Lazinski. He's got Dwayne Walsh inside. He lays back, finds Lewis. Lewis long, seeking ball. It's won by Tog Hill for the Zebras. And McEwen is bundled into by Ludford there, but does enough to see it to Tog Hill, who sees it out off the back of Ludford. We'll see this one again in an almost moment for South Hobart. Good ball from Darcy Hall. Out of the reach of Graham Wright. Just needed someone there to tap it home, Drewster.
Yeah, no one on the end of that one. I'd maybe just like to see them play the ball along the deck a little bit more, as Sherman pressing here, and Pearce will beat him to the ball and just one end out, puts it out of play. Just like to see them around the area rather than hitting those crosses in there. Maybe just try and work the passes, because whilst they've obviously got a couple of powerful players in the air, and Man and Lazinski, they're being handled pretty well by the back four of the Zebras. They looked most troubled when it's been people running at them. But you've got to say, the last 10-15 minutes, South Hobart have got well on top of this contest. It was all Zebras early on, and it's really evened up, and it's shaping into the tight type of battle that we thought with both teams. Certainly with the quality to win this one. And you do think that there's more goals in this game.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think one will be enough for the Zebras, but they've definitely got the control of things as a throw comes in.
Down. You've got to be careful with that one. Don't know if there's much in it. He hit the deck. Need to be a little bit of contact. Play on, says the referee, but Got to be careful there, as Lazinski, his ball is cut out by Fag. His touch was a little bit poor, but had plenty of time. Lobs it forward. A commanding header is won by Brown, but went straight to Hay. Here's Muller. Muller's ball is deflected, and Lewis again reading the play well. He's been stellar left back today. Here's Undy. Now Lazinski. Lazinski turns, dwells on it, and plays a pretty poor through ball in the end.
Just wonder whether a change needs to be made for South Hobart. I look at their bench and I see Alex Walter sitting there, and I think he would be awfully handy and give them maybe a little bit more in midfield than Alex Lazinski. Alex Lazinski, a quality player, but just not sure whether the role suiting him this evening. As the ball comes along from right, chested down from Engels, did well to control the high ball, but Hunt does even better, steals for South Hobart, receives back with a little bit of an intervention from Engels, dishes inside, flicked on from Lazinski, read well by Fag. A long skied ball, and Thomas is under it to beat it away from Sherman, and out for a throw in. See that again from Hunt. Tremendous stuff. Long throw now from the Zebras. Undy comes to deal with it, doesn't quite. Brown races in, gets under it. It's with Kemp, heads it forward. Hall, who does well to find man in a bit of traffic. He gets out onto his right, shapes and puts it out in front of Kemp. Kemp delivers in. Oh, Lazinski racing in to meet it. But first there is Tyler Harrison, and he sweeps clear.
There's a goal-saving challenge from Tyler Harrison there. I thought it was an inch-perfect pass. He's brilliantly defended from the young man there. Sliding in, full stretch. He doesn't make that challenge. Lazinski will absolutely bury that. As South Hobart with Kemp tries to get behind, but that's shut down by Dwayne Walsh. 34 minutes gone. An intriguing contest here of getting a replacement ball. I thought we might have been seeing an early sub, but just after another ball there as the wing commander, Rexy Hunt, will look to whip another one in. Got 4 in the box to pick out at the moment. He waits for the runs to come. Sets it in, deflects, and then somewhat cleared. Kemp wins a header, but Engels gets on the end of it. He turns into a little bit of trouble, but had some assistance there in Sunday. His pass was rather broadcast to Hunt. He read that with ease. Some argy-bargy off the ball, but South Hobart keep going forward. In the end, it's cleared with. Just describe what happened off the ball there, Dave.
Argy-bargy between teammates. McEwen and Dwayne Walsh not watching where either one was going and just clattered into one another as Tyler Harrison sees the danger away. A long bomb into the opposite half. It's Pearce and Brown who play amongst each other. Brown on the ball now. Sherman in no hurry to close him down. We see that again. Walsh came off second best. Hay now looks to win it. It's the South Hobart though, and it's through Hall. He finds Ludford. Ludford wins it with a bit of help from Toghill, and Toghill has something to say with it after. A little clip into Ludford. Throw over the top to Lazinski, brings it down with his head, drops it off. Yet again, Tyler Harrison there. Vital intervention. Buele helps it further. Kept alive by Kurt Engels, and he'll look to race down the flank. He does well. Sees it out. And Zebras will hold on to the ball. See this again. Tyler Harrison lunges out with that right peg and saves the Zebras.
Yeah, the defence being given a bit of a stern examination here at the moment, the Zebras. South Hobart really starting to grow into this game. They're putting him under pressure, and they're forced to turn over here. Lazinski's got man centrally. Can he pick him out? It was a poor ball, but he might get a second bite at it. Just played it a little bit early there, Lazinski, and Toghill flies in and he beats out Lazinski. But the ball hasn't gone out. Can Hall keep it in play? He can't. Some no-nonsense defending there from Toghill, but Lazinski just went a bit early with the cross. I feel he should have carried it into the area a little bit more. It was opening up. It was a poor turnover that let him in, and the pressure just starting to get to the defence of the Zebras, I think. South Hobart piling it on. Can they find this equaliser? We've got a real game on our hands here. Good header by Oscar Thomas, but Muller assuredly there to cut it out. Darcy Hall starting to get involved. Was quite early. Now Lazinski really at the centre of everything, and his ball again is just a bit too heavy. Another almost moment. But with 8 minutes before half-time, you feel like Zebras are the team that are just limping towards the half-time whistle at the moment.
They're under siege, aren't they? Lazinski at the centre of a lot of things. Just after I said maybe get him off, he's really lifted. So I don't know whether this is being beamed into an earpiece in his ear, but he's really lifted for South Hobart, and it's seen a gradual lift from the team throughout pretty well as it goes back from Ludford. Nudges it into Lazinski's path. It's won well by Hay. And then Buele tumbles for it on the ground. A foul against the Cameroonian. Probably a little bit soft. Ball now from Kemp. He switches from the right. Picks out Hunt. Has space, but it's quickly closed down. McEwen wins. Lewis steals. Breaks to the box. Puts it to the back post. A little bit too much pepper on it for Mann, but is still with South Hobart through Hall. He looks to put it to the top of the 6-yard box. It's Engels and Hunt who collide for it. In the end, Toghill comes in to provide support. Cannons into the back of Hunt, and it deflects into the arms of Graham Wright.
Yeah, shift after shift on the attack here. South Hobart, they are piling it on. The Zebras holding out so far. It's been a good defensive display. They really are under siege as Lewis appeals to that, and I think it should be a South Hobart throw, and indeed it is. And another chance here for South Hobart. They've got the impetus at the moment. Can they make it count? They're trailing 1-0. And on the balance of play, you feel they probably deserve a goal, but can they manufacture that moment? Here's Lewis. His pass is almost cut out by Muller. And lovely little turn there from Hunt, then a drop of the shoulder. He leads them a merry dance, and in the end Walsh did pretty well to stick with him and not fall for the shoulder drops. Yeah, just puts it out of play, but Hunt's influence certainly starting to grow in this one.
Absolutely.
Here's Lewis. He's been very good throughout. And he goes to the big fella, Lazinski. He turns onto that right, back onto his left, well defended again. The Zebras back four have really stood up to this challenge. South Hobart really monopolising the ball, dominating play, but the back four are holding firm for Zebras. They're doing a really stellar job. And another test coming here. Here's Hunt up against Walsh. McEwen dropping back in support. Some fancy footwork and then a cross, which is again swallowed up by Wright. He's done a pretty good job with that. He's had a number of crosses he's had to cut out, but South Hobart continue to probe and they are getting close. Just cannot find the goal at the moment, but with 5 minutes before half time, you just think the Zebras would love to have the whistle right now.
They're inching closer to it. To an opener for South Hobart, a leveller, as it's Walsh now who plays to Muller. Muller to Buele. Muller maybe just gone into his shell a little bit in the last 5 or so minutes. South Hobart really getting on top of the contest. They've had the better of it, playing it on their terms as Lewis delivers in onto the head of Kemp. Just nudges to Hunt. Lazinski with a delightful flick. Hunt has his ball blocked though and fouls Guy Buele, and it'll be a free kick for the Zebras in defence and a bit of a let-off because South Hobart were pressing hard. See this again, delightful stuff here from Lazinski. This is where he's at his best. The flicks and tricks come out. Little backheel flick. And again, Tyler Harrison it was that thwarted the South Hobart attack. Brown with a head, sends it forward. Hall can't bring it under his spell. So Fag on the ball for the Zebras. Has plenty of time but can't measure the pass for Engels, who's been well clamped down by Ludford. Hall on it now, looks to use his pace. A touch lets him down and brings it into the path of Fag. It's Buele, plays for Toghill. Inside for Hay and back for Buele. He finds Hay once more to Sherman. He goes into the bullseye and rattles off an ambitious, flat, rolling strike. The never troubled Pearce.
He's
There's
ambitious.
plenty to say to his defence, mind you.
He's ambitious. I'd say that's just foolish. That's the first time they've had the ball, had possession in about 10 minutes, and they've just blasted it wastefully. They've got to do better than that. He's a good player, Muller, but that was... Oh, here's a chance. Engels in behind. He'll put the cross in. Can he pick out Sunday? Not quite. The volley on the rebound from Hay. That's repelled again by Thomas. So Zebras... Jeez, it'd be a real sucker punch if they scored here to end the half. They're probing. The ball into the air from Toghill as Pearce judged this one. He has. It goes over. It was a teasing cross from Toghill. It just floated a little bit on the wind. And Pearce judging this one. Zebras enjoying what's been a rare 4:04 in the last 15 minutes. They barely had the ball.
They've barely had the ball. have been just watching on. It's Brown to Pearce. Back for Pearce once more from Thomas, and he drives long looking for Lewis. Inside, he should find Hunt. No, it's Mann who picks it up. Done a lot of work as Mann puts this one out in front of Hunt and calls him to run. It's Walsh who gets there first and sees it out for a throw-in. Good contest between Hunt and Walsh there, former teammates at Clarence. Lewis to throw in. Inside the box, it's a nice touchdown from Lazinski for Hunt, who delivers in. It's Toghill who's under it. Unwatched as it's Buele in midfield, a rare missed pass. It comes back to Toghill regardless through Fag. Chips this one over the top, looking for Sherman. Brown first to it, brings it down for Ludford, who turns and passes. Tyler Harrison reads it well. Through for Hay, tries to hustle and bustle in there, but he can't beat Hunt, who races away with it. Does well to drag it back. Can't meet Lazinski as Hay picks it up. Delivers for McEwen. And then back for Walsh. His ball is bounced straight the other way, and Hunt picks it up. Back for Lewis. A bit to do from his position. And Hay sees it out for a corner. In the end, probably a decent result for South Hobart. Corner to come in. We see this contest again. Really going for the ball. Both players. So we're edging closer and closer to half time. Zebras just wrestling a little bit of the ascendancy back, but South Hobart been on top of the latter part of this first half. Hunt delivers in. It's won by Engels with a head down for McEwen. He's got space in front of him. How will he use it? Just a deft touch out in front of Engels. He burns off Lewis, but Brown's first there to it. Plays back for Pearce. There's ominous signs there for the Zebras. Buele just waits for it in the bullseye. A bit of a fake. He plays forward looking for Sherman. Hasn't been Sherman's half, it's fair to say. Cutting a very frustrated figure up top. Back from Hunt to Lewis to Kemp. Forward for Hall, a bit of space. Closed down by Hay. From Lazinski, chips over the top. Hunt measures a ball to the back post. It's Mann who rises high, but Fag rises higher. Clears for a moment. Could come back through Ludford. Engels does well. Steals in a tackle. Plays forward. Looking for Sherman. He hustles and bustles and grinds away, but unfortunately it's off his boot last and out of play for a throw-in.
A couple of real physical challenges flying in there on the wing. Really going hard for the ball, both sides. Both teams well and truly up for this contest now. So we eke towards the half-time interval. 1-0 Hobart Zebras. Jaden Hay, the goal scorer. Here's Darcy Hall. Well defended by Toghill. He's had a good half. He's won that duel with Darcy Hall. Certainly had the better of him. He'll go to long throw. Kemp reads that one and lobs it forward. Lazinski tried to get his head on it. Buele wrapped his boot around it, and it turned out to be a very nice pass from McEwen, who sets Walsh a real task, and might have beaten many men to the ball, but not Rex Hunt. And that is half time here at KG5. An intriguing first 45 minutes of football. Hobart Zebras holding sway, although you'd have to say South Hobart, after being outplayed in the first 15 minutes, definitely had the better of the half and started to really get on top as the game wore on. And you fancy they've got goals in them. Zebras, to their credit, have defended stoutly. They were really backed up for long periods in that half, but they defended well, and they hold sway here at the break.
Their defence has been absolutely superb, you got to say, the Zebras, but you'd have no complaints if it was 0-0 at the break. A tremendous contest between two really quality teams. I think South Hobart took a while to find their feet, but when they did, they looked ominous. Alex Lazinski got in the game with his flicks and his tricks. And I agree with you, there's more goals in this contest. But Zebras lead at the break, 1-0. We might see their goal in just a moment, as we'd run through the first half highlights. Here it is. It was gifted straight to Hay. He walloped it back the other way. And it bounces. Bit of backspin off the post and in, and Kane Pearce there just looking on in devastation, wondering what did I just do.
Yeah, he gifted it to him. probably was out of his reach, I think, more than
Yeah,
he
I
thought
think
it was
so
going
too.
wide. I think it would have been, he might have dived, but he never would have got there, judging by that. But
Upon reflection, I agree.
He's,
At the time, I thought, oh, maybe he's read that one wrong, but I think he just knew he couldn't get to it.
he did gift them it with the throw, so he'll be filthy on that one. And it is all that separates these teams. It's been a very even football, really cracking game. We expected as much. Two quality teams, and whilst Zebras were firmly in control early, I mean, South Hobart not a side that's going to get outplayed like that for 90 minutes. You knew they would come, and they responded and put together a really good 20-25 minutes of football there towards the end of the half. Really asked some really tough questions of this defence of the Zebras, but they answered them all. Tyler Harrison in particular, he's been the best player on the pitch for mine. He's read everything incisively. He's made a number of key blocks. He's been outstanding at the back, leading that defence. He's an outstanding young defender. And a credit to his team, and he's played a massive role in keeping this 1-0 at the half.
You touched on Tyler Harrison there. Interested to get your thoughts on the best players in that opening half, and maybe some players that need a lift, and where that lift might come for either side, particularly South Hobart, who are now the chasers.
Yeah, for the Zebras, as we've said, the back four's been great, and Fag and Harrison have just been a rock-solid pair. The fullbacks who had pretty entertaining duels with the wingers of South Hobart. I think Darcy Hall's been pretty well held, and he'll be one that South Hobart will be looking to get a lift from. I think Hunt was pretty busy. Lazinski, that's been an almost sort of night for him up top. He's tried a lot. A lot of it's just been inches off coming off and would have provided goals, but his influence grew, and I think He-Man and Hunt were starting to combine quite nicely as the game wore on. Darcy Hall might want to show a little bit more, or he might be making way for Alex Walker, I suspect. The Zebras, really, as soon as South Hobart started trying to press them, they started pressing high up the field, and they really got them stuck in. And whilst early on we saw Hay, Muller and Buele just dominating that midfield, as the half wore on, they started slipping in that battle, and they couldn't get any supply to Sherman, who, as you said, has kind of very frustrated figure up top. Whilst we'd like to see a lift from him, he's had bugger all service to do anything with.
He's had bugger all service, but also a lot of the time he's waiting for the ball. He's not demanding it, not going out at it. I think they can get more out of Sherman. For me, I really like Muller's work, and I thought Hay was tremendous in the opening 20 or so minutes. Really dropped off in the end of the half, and I think a lot of that has to go to Kobe Kemp. I thought he was outstanding in the midfield. I think he was a bit of a lone ranger early, and just kept plugging away, and he's a quality player, young Kobe Kemp. And along with him, Lewis and Ludford, I think both the fullbacks have been well tested, but have held them well. And I think Mann's done a power of work up top, but yet again it's been in the wrong areas. So if he gets fed in dangerous areas, look out. I think there's more goals in this one, Drewster.
Yeah, he's been more of your provider than your finisher tonight. He's been doing the build-up work, man, and perhaps he's the man you want finishing the chances rather than providing, but he's certainly run his socks off, and you're always going to get that from Braden Mann. Ludford and Engels, what an entertaining duel that's been. There's been plenty both ways. You'd say Ludford has shaded in. Engels in the last 5 minutes of the half just had a couple of really bursting runs where he looked to take on the South Hobart. As they start to press up and control the ball, there's going to be chances if they do break, and Engels is the man who can get in behind, and we'll watch with great interest that duel as the match wears on. Well, Engels has been pretty well held to this point, but just showed a couple of signs that maybe he's ready to break out and really do something incisive.
He has game-breaking ability, no doubt. And maybe that's one player that they can just get more into the game, and who knows for the Zebras. But they've got a lead, and that's the key thing for them. Halftime changes, do you think there'll be any from either side?
Halftime, no. I think depends how long they go on. I'd expect Walter to get a run for South Hobart, particularly if they can't find a goal. Hess has been one that Ken's loved to bring on. For the Zebras, in midfield, we might see a change. We might see Thomas coming on against his former team, perhaps. I suppose it'll depend how the legs are of his players.
If I was to hazard a guess, I would say hour mark, we might see Buele depart for a Harrison Thomas, just if things stay the same, just to really freshen up that midfield brigade. And I agree with the change. I think Walter for Hall at some point. Hall, he's a quality player, but I don't think we've seen the best of him tonight. And I think Alex Walsh can maybe freshen them up, really use that explosive pace. Or alternatively, if they aren't finding headway, they might make a structural change and put Walter on for a Lazinski, and or even put a Lazinski up top. There's plenty they can do with that lineup. They've got options aplenty. but it all bodes well for such a cracking second stanza, Drewster. 1-0 to the Zebras, delicately poised, a lot on the line, a spot in a final. Both teams want redemption. They want a trophy in the cabinet.
Yeah, both teams look capable of delivering it. Would not shock me if we go on beyond 90 minutes, to be honest. Both these teams are going to be very tough to beat. They'll fight tooth and nail to the end. And just on Darcy Hill, I think he's a top player. He likes space. He likes to be able to open up on the break. He likes it when the ball's fed quickly to him. That hasn't been the sort of game we've had. It's been the sort of game where he's looked up and there's been plenty of Zebra shirts back, and I'm not sure that suits him as much as flying out on the breaks. That's why for mine he's been a little bit negated tonight.
Liam Scott with a tweet in, South need to go back to basics, 4-4-2, man and Albie, Kaczynski up top, Rexing more to wide, Kessie Kemp through the middle. I don't mind it at all as a suggestion.
Yeah, if there's any man who would know the South Hobart system, it would be Liam Scott. He's very familiar with them, man. A bad suggestion. Undy has been fairly quiet throughout this one for mine. Kemp's been the one in midfield pulling most of the strings. Undy, he's been beaten for a few balls out there, so I think I could see Hess coming on for him, as he's been touched on there by Scott.
Yeah, I think he's been well and truly under the radar as Undy, just very subdued. I think he's one that could make way in Hall. I think they're the two players that could be changed, and I don't mind the idea of Albie and man up top. It might just change things a little bit, and maybe it changes what's in order, because Zebras, though they're being asked a couple of questions, they've done well to hold them at bay thus far. Well, first 45 is done, and Zebras holding the advantage. We'll be back for the second half. It should be an absolute cracker. Do stay with us. South Hobart burst back out onto the pitch for the second half. Keen to reel in this 1-0 deficit. Zebras hold over them. The hosts with a 1-0 lead at the break. South Hobart look to come out unchanged. So too do the Zebras. Really good first 45. Zebras with the lead, and they started the better team. As the game wore on, South Hobart found their groove and really got into things. Lazinski got a bit more service and got a bit more going. Be interested to see what happens in this second half. Drewster, I'd like a second half prediction. You tip South Hobart before the game. Do you stick by it?
I'll stick by it, but if they're going to win, they will need extra time. I will predict 1-1, and then they'll get them in extra time. There you go, there's my prediction. But really, we said it pre-game, we thought this was a bit of a coin flip, and it is paving out that way. Both teams had periods of control, of domination. Zebras were able to, make that count by getting the goal, admittedly through a keeping error. But South Hobart on the balance of play, I thought were the better side in that half. And it'll be interesting to see if any adjustments have been made. Zebras kick us off here, and Willay plays it to Toghill. Toghill, just a bit of a sloppy one there, took his eye off the ball. Good ball to fight back and put it out of play. They throw into Ludford. Ludford throwing it forward, but it's well cleared, only as far as Lazinski. Lazinski plays it back, and Ludford lobs a high one that will be snapped up by Wright, and he can get the Zebras going back the other way.
So Wright in the ball. The Zebras would be liking this sort of start to the second half. Just cool the jets and get things going. Off the back of Sherman. It's down, but scurried clear by Oscar Thomas with a bit of a hook. It's there in congestion, and it's won by Hay, and Buele with a little sneaky shake and knock back for Toghill. He loses it as he was looking for angles, and Guy Buele just comes into the back of Ludford, the most casual of fouls you'll ever see here. Toghill went to Ludford and just a little, I'm just getting your foot here.
Yeah, just the old foot clip.
As the ball comes long, it's put over the back by Tyler Harrison, and Graham Wright gratefully picks it up. Roll short for Harrison. What a player he's been coming into this Zebras setup. It's really suited both parties. Buele loses it. A rare miscued ball by him, but Hay does well. Uses the big rig and shovels on the side. Switch from right to left with a bit of assistance from Walsh. Toghill forward. Only find an orange shirt, and it's Brown. He finds Hall. He's smothered by Toghill, and he wrestles it back. Runs away. He can't find Sherman, who's flat-footed. And now it's South Hobart on the ball through man. He's got Buele for company. Does well. A nice ball out in front of Hunt. Hunt with a bit of a shimmy and a shake. He fires a strike wide of goal over the goal frame. You see this one again from Hunt. Just with a bit of a shake and fires off the left peg over the goal frame.
Always tough to beat a keeper from there. He gave it a good fist. Lovely ball from Braden Mann to pick him out though, wasn't it? Just superb stuff from Mann. His passing's been pretty good tonight, Braden.
I reckon he's been great, to be honest. It's just not the Braden Mann you're accustomed to. He's used to getting the pill right there in the 18-yard box and putting them away, but he's doing a lot of work and good work. The ball comes long from right, is brought down by McEwen. He drops off for Walsh, who looks to just dart down that line. He more or less shoves Lewis out of the way and says, I'll take this throw in. Back it goes for Muller. Navigates Kemp nicely, but it's McEwen who just first touch goes out in front of himself. He tries to track it down, but Hunt better. Wins, plays for Kemp. Can't quite find Lazinski. Squeeze off him by Harrison. The ball ping-pongs around. Eventually Lewis takes it. Forward for Lazinski. Back for Hunt. In for Mann. He looks to flick it on. It's picked up by Hall. Looks to race away. Retrieved by Toghill. Finds Engels. He's come back a long way to find it. Fag forward. Sherman again with a lot of pressure on him. Gets it back for Buele. A lot of good contests in there. Through the congestion, through the traffic is Engels, but he can't keep it. South Hobart wrestle it back through Hall, the byline. Edge of the 6. It's picked up by Graham Wright.
There's real physicality in this contest at the moment. Here's Tyler Harrison. Walsh. Back to Harrison, who goes centrally looking for Hay. Couldn't quite control it. Long leg of Thomas gets it out to Lewis. It was well read by Engels though, and he can play it into Sunday McEwen. He's one-on-one with Thomas. Cuts inside onto his left. He's run himself in a little bit of trouble. Does well to get to Hay. Now Engels. A little bit of space. Back to Hay. And Hunt's, well, he's done well to get back there and cut it out, but it's gone to Muller. He's passed. Set Walsh. Bit of a task, but he kept it in. Now he looks up and gets to run. A fair shove in the back there, and that's just undisciplined. He was going nowhere. They had the numbers. Didn't need to make that foul there, Hunt. Just misjudged that one. Yeah, not one that was really necessary, but a set-piece opportunity now for Zebras in a good area and good chance early in this half. 2-0 would be very difficult for South Hobart to recover from, especially against this very stout defence that Zebras have. A bit of a committee over the ball at the moment. Hay, probably the most likely to take it. He's got Walsh and Engels there too. And they set it up. Here he goes. Gets one to the back post. Is going down. It was Sherman. Unsurprisingly, in a bit of a clash there with Brown, and it's been given as a corner. Bit of a dispute over which way it should go. As we see both Sherman and Brown tumbling to the ground there. Ball played in, headed clear, falls to Buele. He shifts it out to the left now. The ball played in by Fag. Dangerous ball headed, brilliant save. Pearce, rebound off the post. Engels blocked off the line, still not done with. Finally they pair. Oh, some real scramble. A great save from Pearce, and then another one cannoning into the post. That was so very, very nearly 2-0. Pearce way out of position when they took this. It was a very smart play to play the first corner. From there it progressed, and fantastic save. It was a great save there made by Pearce initially, but a rebound which was hammered into the post maybe should have been buried, Damien.
Really crisp ball in from Fag. I wonder whether we can see the replay again. Just tremendous stuff from Pearce in the finish, but geez, I don't know how South Hobart got out of that one alive. It's Pearce on the ball now. He's had a mixed evening, that's to be said. Plays it short to Kemp. Good pressure coming from Zebras. Not getting out of this easily, South Hobart. Along it goes. Flicked on by Mann. Looking for Lewis. It's won by Walsh, but he loses it as he turns to the deck. It's from Kemp. He finds Mann. The outside looks for Hunt. He picks it up. He breezes by one. Looks to drop it off. It's there for Braden Mann. His shot's blocked. Still alive. It's Tyler Harrison who sees it out.
Great block from Fag there. Outstanding defensive play. It was some superb football flowing forward there from South Hobart. There's been an offside flag raised. It was really beautiful, incisive work here from South Hobart going forward as we go back to the mad scramble at the other end. Very smart to just whip that one in while Pearce was off his line. All at the end of the drum though. We see Fag just chipping a dangerous ball in here. This is an outstanding save.
Oh,
brilliant.
Tremendous.
And the rebound, as I said, Sunday McEwen, it's the post. Probably should have buried it though.
I don't know how he missed it. But anyway, he did.
Let off, isn't it?
It is a huge let off. They score that, they don't lose this. The ball comes on, it's handled by McEwen. Play goes on. Picked up by Pearce. Really should have been a goal, to be honest. Pearce had no right to save it in the first place.
Superb save from Pearce. Atoning for his error earlier there. That was an outstanding save.
He's given them one, but he saved them on that occasion. The ball comes through, and Buele will just put it back to his gloveman. The big Scott, Graham Wright, long and strong, looking for Engels. It's watched over by Brown. Now for a throw in. The big centre half goes along, flicked on by Hall. Zebras win it back through Fag and Toghill, and Hay, good first touch. He looks to run onto it. Wrestles with his former teammate in Ludford. Does well, does Ludford. Through traffic, finds Mann. Yet again, not in the position we're used to seeing him. He finds Hall. He looks to dish back. It's blocked by Toghill. He's had the better of that battle. Picked up now. Fag to Engels. To Buele. Over the top looking for Sherman. One in the air by Thomas. It's been all over anything in the air. Hall opts to go out wide looking for Undy. yet again has been well and truly subdued. Haven't seen much of Undy on the ball in this ball game.
Pretty quiet. He's won his side of corner here though. And will be Hunt to whip it in. As substitutes just starting to warm up on the South Hobart sideline. Morton perhaps thinking about a change. Hunt delivers near post. It's flicked on. Will it fall for man? It's blocked. Darcy Hall, in fact, is lining that one up. An eternity to line it up. It seemed in slow motion for a moment and made pretty poor contact in the end.
Shocking, really. They've cried for a deflection because I think more or less Darcy Hall hoped it had, because not great purchase off the boot. Toghill now tries to get it moving. Good pressure coming from Darcy Hall to keep it buried in that defensive third of the Zebras. Toghill again down the line. Hay looks to use the body. Shovels aside, picks out Muller, who gives it to Walsh. Has to come back for it more or less. Drops it off for Muller. It's to Sherman, his first touch is a shocker. Straight to South Hobart. Down the line it goes. Yet again the watchful Tyler Harrison picks it up. Goes for right. Skied high ball, high up and under. It's won by Dan Brown, who stood a lone figure under it. Zebras now as they break away. It's from McEwen out in front of Engels. He meets it first time ahead of Pearce, but he can't guide it into the back of the net. It was an ambitious effort on the volley. You see this as it bounces away from Engels. He was first stood ahead of Pearce. Maybe should have just taken the touchdown and copped the contact of Pearce, and I reckon it might have been the end of Pearce's night, to be honest.
Exactly what I was thinking. He did just enough to put him off it as Alex Walter comes on for Darcy Hall. So it's 55 minutes, Morton not messing about. He decided he needed a change. And it's Walter on for Hall. But yeah, Engels got there first. Pearce did enough to put him off, but he's just taking a touch. If Pearce gets some contact, that's going to be red. And if he doesn't, then he's probably going to have a shot at a rather empty goal, rather from an angle. But he went the spectacular, didn't quite pull it off there, Kurt Engels.
If it came off, he would have been a genius. But yeah, I just think percentage play would have been, although you don't want to force people to get sending off. The Zebras really find their voice in the crowd. Good pressure coming from James Sherman, just forcing a turnover from Dan Brown out for a throw-in.
They've opened this half a lot better than they finished the last one. They're playing a lot more in the manner that they started the game. It's the long throw is easily enough dealt with by Brown, but he put it straight back to Engels. He's got two defenders marking him, so it'll be tough for him to get a meaningful ball in. He shifts back onto his right, and now he favours his left. Tolkill with a chance. The wind picks that one up a little bit. Just a little bit of a breeze growing here. It's certainly affecting the ball a bit. Here's Walsh, looks to power on down the line. Lovely work to Wayne Walsh. Couldn't get around Matthew Lewis though. Again, stellar in defence. Here's Boyle. Didn't get forward, but so Walsh a little bit short. Good use of the body, and McEwen with some fancy footwork skips inside. It was the wrong option. Should have passed to Engels. Bit selfish there from McEwen, and in the end, South Hobart will repel.
Selfish,
option,
but he did well in the first place, to be honest, McEwen.
This is some very sharp footwork to start it. I think that probably gave him the confidence to try the second man, but better served. He's a bursting run from Engels. His influence is certainly on show here. It was Muller, in fact, so I apologise. And Lewis will take the throw-in as his pass was a little astray. The Zebras have started this half well. They've got the foot on the throat of South. If they can get a second goal, you feel it would be pretty decisive. It'd be very hard for South Hobart to come back from. Lisinski flicks on, takes a deflection. Muller. Hay wins the header. Here's Engels, lays it back for Dwelle. He chips one, which Tolgier waits on and read it well. Spun back to him, and then he tried to cross it over there to McEwen. He'll keep it in play and wait for the support of Walsh. Comes, he'll get a throw in. No, again he keeps it in, and again, oh, lovely work there by Sunday, and wins the corner with pure perseverance. Well, looked like it was going to go out about 3 times. It didn't, but he's done really well to win the corner there.
He did very well, McEwen, and that is such a McEwen run. He just somehow keeps the ball when he should at times, Sunday McEwen.
Yeah, he's got a knack of doing it, doesn't he?
He just, yeah, you just think he's done here, dead and buried, and then he'll just keep a hold of things. So a corner now, the Engel grinder over it. With that last samurai type do. It's blocked at the front post and sits there. Walsh can try the speculative effort. He opts to put a ball into the box. Hay looks to chest it down, keeps it alive at the byline. He's got Ludford marking him. Crosses in, nobody home but orange shirts, and it's Oscar Thomas who wins away. Now it's with Walter. Can South Hobart break? He plays an early ball, asking plenty of Braden Mann. Tyler Harrison across to it first. Read it well and sees it out of play.
Braden Mann to take the throw in. Doesn't have anything on offer at the moment. Now presenting short for him is Kemp. Kemp to the right. And then another throw in. So Hobart building here. Defers to Ludford for the throw. He's directing the box. Looking for the flick on from Lazinski. Man, near post deflects off the post there. Oh, very nearly sneaking in there. It was a dangerous ball in, a flick on. What's there? Just suggestions of the hand there from Fag. And Wright just misjudged it horribly in the end. It was nearly snuck in.
He
made an absolute hash of that one, the keeper.
Wright, on one hand, did really well because he worried Man out of it. But at the same time, he very nearly turned around to find the ball in the back of his net. Lucky for a bit of woodwork. Help him out on that occasion as we tick beyond the arrow mark. Right, long, beyond halfway will be Sherman and Brown who contest. Sherman wins and it's down for Engels, but it's a foul against Sherman. Zebra's not pleased.
Player's got to be able to leap at the ball.
I thought that was a 100% fair challenge, to be honest. We'll watch it again. Not sure what's wrong with this.
That's just a more physical act. He's won the ball with a better jump. He's out-jumped his opponent. That's why he's won it.
I don't even think Brown played for a free kick.
To be fair to him, he didn't protest at all.
Yeah.
He was very sheepish when he got given, it has to be said.
Yes.
But that's what we don't want. It's been a really good battle between those two, but you've got to allow them to compete physically, surely.
Yeah, you got two bulls going at it. Don't cut them off at the horns. Just let them go.
Dangerous in that. Let them play.
Right. Over it. Tremendous acquisition is right for the Zebras, and some more reports coming back next season. Bringing a couple of mates with him, according to Chris Hay today at the press conference. So Zebras, he doesn't think they're too far away from the title, and I'd have to agree when fit. Maybe one thing they need to fix is depth, because that we saw injuries really unravelled them. And get a few more players in and have a bit of depth to call on. They're a fearsome package. This comes from McEwen of Well 8. Back for Harrison. Nudges it into the path of Muller. For Harrison once more. He can't pick out a teammate this time. It's Brown who finds Thomas. Out on the left to Lewis. Not a lot of action on his flank in this second half. He finds Hunt who does well. Weaves and gives and finds Man. Man with a bit of a shimmy. He's got Walsh for company, tries to get a ball into the front post. It's met by Walter, and he's collected a little bit too much of Wright for the liking of referee James Hall. Will be a foul against the midfielder. Not much in that.
Protected species, though, keepers, aren't they? They really are at times. Obviously, you want to give them a little bit of extra protection, but at the end of the day, the striker has a right to challenge for the ball. Maybe just slightly infringing there, either way. Spilled out of play anyway. Here's Hunt, and it's out of play. Lewis looking to get things moving quickly here. We've got about half an hour left here, South Hobart, to find this equaliser. An intriguing cup tie here at KG5. Ball takes a deflection, and Wright will swallow that one up all too easily. And now Fag. Not a lot ahead of him. Tolkill moving for him, and it was closed down in the meantime by Braden Mann. And there's probably not a blade of grass he hasn't covered in 60 minutes here, man. It's been an outstanding shift from him.
Yeah, he's been good.
Tolkill with the throw and flicked on by Engels. Oh, well read though by Undy and turning nicely, and then a little nutmeg on Engels, very nice, but it's a poor pass from Ludford to Walter, and it just goes out of play. Very smooth work here from Hugh Undy as we have a look at the replay. Beats one, spins, and then the nutmeg. Very nice. Hasn't been his night, but could that be the moment that sparks him? He's the header from Brown. Well, a favourite to win this, and he does just that. Just goes over the head of Engels. Sherman and Ludford in a physical encounter there. Undy with a touch on. Walter can't get to it. Oh, well done, Toghill. Slid in ahead of Undy and got there first. Really well done, Toghill. Here's Engels now. Looks to play in. Toghill again, and he just dropped the shoulder in there and gives away the foul in the process.
He's filthy on it too, he's Toghill.
It wasn't very subtle, David.
He'll race back to his position. 1-0 lead remains for the Zebras. Brown long, it's a good ball. Came fizzing for Lazinski. It was won by Harrison. He's just done so well in that duel tonight. Dropped off from Walsh to Buele. He finds Toghill. Toghill tries the ambitious ball. And unfortunately, it's out in front of his bench. Brown to throw in. Ludford rather. Finds Kemp in space. Dishes in for Walter from Undy. He drops it off for Kemp. Kemp delightfully rolls along the turf and finds Lewis. Lewis cuts inside, tries to deliver in a ball for the run of Lazinski. Never comes, and Wright latches onto it. Out for Buele. Short for Muller. Back for Wright. Oh, toes round Lazinski. He's done all right there, but I tell you what, those sort of efforts from the goalkeeper I don't really like, because, geez, you can end up looking foolish.
Playing with fire there, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Watch it again. It looks great when it comes off, but really, how much is gained? Just get it out of there.
Turn the ball over anyway. It's a South Hobart throw. But credit to it. He's pulled it off. And until you stuff it up, that's when you get criticised. And avoids the danger there. Ludford's throw is repelled, but he'll get another chance here. He goes back to Brown. So Hobart starting to push numbers on here. No time is ticking. Some good work here. Dogger Brown with a rare 4-way forward. Can he supply anyone? No, it was well defended. Although the clearance was poor. Straight to Walter. He looks up. Doesn't see anything he likes, so goes to the right. Hunt tried to flick on. Had no idea where the ball fell, though. Did well to regain it. Now Brown probing here, South Hobart. Down the right, it's Ludford overlapping. His chip ball goes straight to Buele. And with the old bicycle kick there.
Little karate number.
Bit of fancy stuff there. He gets rid of it. Now Engels bursting into space. He looks up and sees the long legs of Thomas. Oh, burns him off. But getting back to cover well was Walter. And then cuts inside. Very nicely done there by Walter. Fresh legs there, saving the day. Like Engels was just about to burn a hole through South Hobart. But
fresh and quick legs in Alex Walter.
Here's Hay. He's played a dangerous ball here to Sherman, but Pearce got there. He's gone straight to McEwen, who's put it right down his throat. Oh, what a golden opportunity that was for McEwen to ice it. But picked out Pearce, and again, McEwen's had two chances to strike the killer blow here. Hasn't been able to do it. Dwayne Walsh storming down the right-hand flank. Was met by a solid challenge of Cody Kemp to break that up. And Zebras will gather the ball at the back, all the way back to right.
Really, McEwen's had two give-me's for mine. That one just nowhere near good enough. Should have asked more of Kane Pearce. He's put it straight into the breadbasket. We'll see it again. Sherman almost onto it. Pearce, good challenge, you got to say. And he's just rocketed it straight into his arms.
What about Gibby? He probably should have done better. Should have got the shot on target. But
Gibby
a little bit harsher. Yeah. You've got a keeper there and a defender tracking back.
Okay, he's had one give me, the one before from about 6 yards.
Don't know how good your striking ability is, Doug.
Oh, very good.
I've seen you on the futsal court. So I don't know about the real deal.
Yeah, you're right. You got to get out there first as the ball goes out of play. Freddie Hess coming up to the halfway. I think we'll see Hugh Undy come off. I think he'll be the one to make way. Hasn't had a great evening.
Could be, or maybe potentially one of the back four and shift to a back three as they chase this game. Could be an option, perhaps.
Yeah, not a terrible idea. Lazinski, another one that could come off as it's played forward by Brown, deflected away. Still there for South Hobart if they can pick it up through Hunt. They do. Hunt races away, delivers in, the top of the six. It was well won by Toghill. Sits for Ludford. Puts a ball in, but he's clattered in the process by Hay, and Hay into the book with a very swiftly erected slice of cheese from Jimmy Hordle. Got that one out of the pocket nice and quickly, and deserved slice. Just came straight in to Ludford. Into the book goes, hey, it's Saturday.
Very disciplined of Ludford to not line up the spectacular 25-yard volley there. Got to say, most people would have been very tempted with that ball just teasingly bouncing like that, but did the team thing, played it in, and in the end he draws a free kick, which Lazinski is standing over. And he'll probably fancy it. 22 minutes remaining. Hunt also a chance on his left. He looks like he's shaping up. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Lazinski. Curls it over the head of Ryan over the top. It remains 1-0 Zebras.
They waited till after the set piece. Freddie Hess. Be interesting to see who makes way. It'll be Hugh Undy.
2 subs as we called at half time there, Damien. We'll give ourselves a pat on the back for that one.
Yeah, about time we got something right, I reckon.
Absolutely.
Big Freddie Hess. Look at that tight perm. Real good look. Alfred Hess, as I always say. Real name you could see on a Cluedo character.
Potential for a bit of a Marilyn Fellaini look in years to come there if he perseveres, I feel.
Absolutely, but in terms of Cluedo character, you could see him next to a Professor Plum, couldn't you?
Yeah, and the conservatory.
Yeah, exactly right. With the candlestick.
Yeah, with the candlestick. Always the weapon of choice, that one. Anyway, he's South Hobart pushing forward but repelled. Sherman turning, lovely ball. McEwen surging down the right.
It's Muller.
He's played it in a little early. And it's well read by Ludford. He's been very good tonight, Hugh Ludford. Beaten for pace a couple of times, but has really put a foot long.
Wigo just jumped in with a couple of Google images of Lionel Richie. Yeah, not a bad little doppelganger of Alfred Hess. Welle gives possession to Kemp. He rarely uses it poorly. He comes back.
Well read by
to
Fag
Hess.
there. That was really good defending.
From Walter to Brown. Striding forward. He burns off Bwelle. Now, Bwelle does well to fight back into the contest, and it's with Toghill now. He'll look to race away. Oh, he nips by one. Oh, he clatters in with a sliding lunge. Comes for Sherman, who drops off to Muller in the bullseye. They just slow down things a little bit here, the Zebras. Out for Walsh. Those pink boots not moving in any great haste. It's forward now. Sherman picks it up somehow, drops it off for Walsh. He looks to tuck it inside, looking for Engels. Maybe should have shot, and it's out for a corner.
Yeah, brilliant defence here from Dogger Brown. He commits. He reads it well in the end, and it's his body in the way. It's a good block. Perhaps could have taken the shot on. Was unselfish, had Engels in the middle, but textbook defending there from Brown. Denies him and keeps it at 1-0, and it might well be enough. A second goal could kill this contest. Hay to take. Sends it over the back. Engels and McEwen there. Back across it goes. Who reacts first? Sherman does. He's coming back from an offside position though, and Pearce will quickly take this. He launches it long. Man wanted it early, but he's put it straight down the throat there of Tyler Harrison, who can play it to Jaden Hay. Hay then goes to McEwen, and they're attacking position quickly. It's incisive play. He cuts backwards now and goes to Walsh. And goes off down the right again. He's really looking to get him behind here, Walsh. A number of those trademark runs of his in this second half. He's got the throw in. No rush here at the Zebras. They held on for 20 minutes. They are into the cup final. Still a Jaden Hay goal separating the sides. It's been a pretty even contest. And that's dealt with rather unconvincingly by Hess. Puts it out though. And again, no rush at all. The Zebras, the game is in their pocket if they can just hold out for another 20 minutes.
Interesting, Drewster. I've got Wigo here beside me, man, the blog, and statistically, Zebras dominating 7 shots on to just South's 1.
I think a lot of South Hobart, they've had a lot of balls into the area that have been, I suppose, crosses that have been intervened by the likes of Tyler Harrison and Fag. They've had some good moments in pure shots, absolutely. I don't doubt that Zebras have been more willing to pull the trigger. They've definitely had the better of this second half, but I mean, a lot of the times in the first half, South Hobart's best moments of attack were crosses that were just intervened, as we see.
Third and final change.
Substitution as Thomas is being replaced by Schmidt, I think.
Yeah.
You see a bit of a shift at the back. Obviously, Connor Schmidt, a more natural attacking kind of fullback, so you'd imagine either Ludford or Lewis. Probably Ludford will slide into centre half. And we'll see Schmidt, I suppose, playing more of a wing-back role. He's probably more natural in that position than Ludford, obviously a converted centre-half.
The same 3 changes they made at the FFA Cup, and Schmidt was really influential on that occasion, assisted an equaliser, so maybe he can do something for them this evening and find them an equaliser. An attacking fullback, and I tell you what, he can actually score as well. He is a goal threat. We've seen him score some good goals. As the ball, as we see here, Fag came across the cut-off. He's been good at the back. We've been on a lot about Tyler Harrison because he's been superb. But so too is Henry Fag, the skipper.
Yeah, outstanding display from both of them. Absolute rocks at the back as this one just goes over the head of Hess, and Sunday nips in, but couldn't get it over the top of Ludford. Now he looks up, doesn't see a lot. He goes to Hunt, who's surrounded. Played a lovely 1-2 though. Now they're starting to build. Hunt delivers. It's not going to pick out anyone though except for Wright, and it's been a problem with South Hobart all evening. The delivery has not been good enough into the area. And Bwelle in acres of space. He's got all day to just turn and play a pretty poor pass in the end, which is not something we've said often about Bwelle tonight. Passes back to Schmidt. Well done by Engels to pressure him. That was a rather sloppy turnover from Schmidt. It might open them up at the other end. Sherman lays it through. Well done, Brown. Another crucial intervention. And he's fouled afterwards, but Olga Brown with a couple of real match-saving challenges here in this second half. And Phil now, second goal wins it. If he doesn't get that touch, that's probably a good night.
Yeah, I think if that got through, that was goal time. I was going to say just before that, now it'll say like I'm just jumping on it. Connor Schmidt, obviously a more attacking option for them, and they need a goal, but it also leaves them a little bit vulnerable if Kurt Engels gets firing on all cylinders the other way as Guy Bwelle departs. I think we've got Luke Warrener. Yep, Luke Warrener on. So a bit of a change up. So Zebra's youngster on, and it'll be interesting to see how they shift in terms of the setup. Maybe McEwen centrally, and we'll see Sherman more into the midfield. Because Warrener is a wide player as it's flicked on from McEwen to Warrener. He'll look to burn off now. He's got Ludford on inside. Ludford with a superb sliding tackle. Not only does he win it, he wins a goal kick. We'll see this again from Ludford. Look at that. That is perfect.
Can't make a challenge better than that. That is outstanding. They've turned it over, coming out again though, and Engels will look to punish them if he can get up and deliver into the area. He lays it back. That's a very high ball. They'll come down with snow on it. Oh, Pearce has made a hash of it. Headed home, 2-0 Zebras, and that you would think is an air spot in the final booked.
I think it is. I think it is. You called it well, Drewser. It came down with snow on it, and McEwen was there waiting. He contested in the air. I don't think there was much wrong with what he did. Pearce had a few complaints. I think he just rose highest. Fair. Completely fair. Not at home. And McEwen, while he missed a couple of opportunities before, that is a great goal. And well won in the air. 2-0 Zebras. Hard to see them losing from here, Drewster.
He's a fine goalkeeper, Kane Pearce, but he's had a very dirty night. He'll be filthy on himself for that one. And yeah, it's hard to see how South Hobart find 2 goals in these final 15 minutes. If any side could do it, it would be South, but Zebras have been absolute rocks at the back. Very hard to see this one going any other way than a Zebras win, but Pearce will be very disappointed with that. Both the goals, you feel that he probably could have prevented, and if it is his last game in a South Hobart jersey, which it could well be, I don't think he'll be happy to leave it on that note.
Yeah, he's left on it's going to be a pretty shattering note for himself. He would have wanted to leave on a high. Not only are they going to lose, he probably hasn't had his best evening. He's had a tremendous season, Pearce. A lot more work done this year, and probably unheralded somewhat for how much he's had to pull off and save South Hobart and really keep them in the race.
Oh, a quick look at the Specsavers Save the Year compilation would tell you that he was very busy and made some very nice saves between the sticks this year, but yeah, hasn't been his night tonight. To be fair to him, it was a really high ball that was swirling around all over the place. It was a very difficult one to judge.
Yeah, which is why I'll give more and more credit to Adam McEwen to just time his run and jump completely spot on.
Yeah, outstanding, wasn't it?
And nudges it home with his head as Walter now looks to break away for South Hobart. They have it all to do out in front of Schmidt from the byline. He'll control. He's got Warrener tracking. He lays back and it's won by Walter. puts in a ball. It's over the head of Hess and out to the back post where I think it was Hunt or Mann tried to miraculously turn it in. Couldn't. It was a good ball. If Hess only could just get there a little bit quicker, it might have been a goal. Mann tried the unthinkable but couldn't pull it off out for a corner.
For him, hasn't it? So many balls like that, teased into the area, no one's been able to get on the end of. It's been cut out by defenders. That's why, while the shots might be all Zebra's way, South Hobart have certainly had their chances tonight. That was another one, just inches off, giving them some life in this contest. 12 minutes to go. There's the Zebras man just eating up some clock here. Good gamesmanship, perhaps.
What have we got down, Drewster? Muzzy.
All right, just having a bit of a kip on the ground. Doesn't seem too concerned if he's injured.
I think tonight we've seen one team that's a whole lot hungrier than another. Drewster, interested to get your opinion on it, but I just think Zebras, in terms of their pressure and their attack on things, was actually Walsh there that did really well. I didn't see in real time. Beautiful bit of work.
Ever on the slow-mo there from Ash.
But yeah, interested to get your thoughts on the contest. I think Zebras, although South Hobart have been good value, I think they just look like they want it more.
Certainly early on they did. I don't think there's any doubt they exploded out of the blocks a lot hungrier. South Hobart as the game wore on, certainly were more up for the contest. The second half, I don't know if it's been through that willingness. It might have been. They've certainly flown in. They've been very committed. You can't question the endeavour of the Zebras players. And Mullo's going to be subbed off, so he's injured. I apologise. I thought he was just doing the old gamesmanship of eating up some minutes there, but he's limping off, and Thomas is coming on for him. But yeah, I think they've probably worked a little bit harder, but they've just been the better team for mine in the second half.
Liam Scott on the tweet again. Who would be a keeper? Very fair point. Not a chance I'd be a keeper. Football Manager 4-2-4 tactic needs to be in play now.
Nah, Scotty, that's not how you play Football Manager. You go the 3-4-3 overload. You thump them up there. You got your wingers almost as strikers. Anyway, this one's teased into the area. The header goes towards the back post. Man scurries off after it. Can he keep it in? He thinks he's going to get a corner for it in the end, and he will. So they'll reload here, South Hobart. Desperation stakes now. Man to take. Can he pick anyone out? It's a dangerous cross, but Walsh rose highest and dealt with it. McEwen can clear. It'll come right back to them, though. Lewis will just thump this one. He tries to chip right from range. Well, we've seen Lewis on this ground do it before, but that was never particularly likely. The conditions not quite as awful as they were the last time he pulled that one off.
Yeah, right all over that, like a cheap suit. Pumps along, down halfway, straight to a South Hobart player in Connor Schmidt. Plays down the line and picks out Walter. He's been speedy since coming on. Along to Hess. He can't bring it under his spell with any great conviction. Swept away from Fag and out of play. Hess now to throw in. Some 9 minutes, you'd think, for South Hobart to try and wrestle this one back and take it to extra time. If they could score 3 goals and avoid extra time, it would be some feat. Played from Hay to Sherman in traffic, does well. Out on the left, he finds Toghill. Oh, he's gifted possession straight back to Schmidt. Schmidt into Kemp, spins out and from the bullseye out in front of Hunt. Hunt, long, into the box. It sits all right for Man, but Toghill wires to it. Picks it up with a head and nods into the arms of Wright. It's going to be weird, Andrew Cooling. Victory Cup next week, the final. No South Hobart.
Yeah, they've been permanent residents in the final slot in recent times, but we've seen a bit of a shift this year. Olympia obviously winning the league, breaking their stranglehold there, and look, Zebras, they're building a very exciting list, and if they can win the Victory Cup here, a great way to end the season. And they're a really good side. And obviously we've got to wait and see what happens in the way of player movement, but there's a fair chance they might head into next year's Victory League season as the favourites to win it all, depending on how much of Olympia's roster is retained and their roster is retained. But they're building a very strong side here, the Zebras, and they've been well worth the victory tonight if they hold on. They've defended very well. It's been a pretty even clash, I think. Zebras have shaded it slightly, and they've taken a couple of chances, and they'll be deserved winners if they get through. But the back four has been tremendous, rock solid, yeah. And If it's University or Olympia in the final next
Sherman
week,
inside for McEwen. Cherry on top. Goal time. Gets it on the inside. It's a goal for McEwen. It's 3-0 for the Zebras. They're into the Victory Cup final. We'll see this one again, Droosa. Sorry to interrupt. Sherman picked it up from Walsh. From McEwen. Just slips it in into the bottom right. That's his second for the game. 3-0 Zebras. Looks a pretty comprehensive victory now, but it's been a real arm wrestle for mine. They've just had the better chances and they've taken them.
Yeah, they've taken them. That's been the key difference. They've been the better team for sure. They will deserve this victory, and McEwen gets his second. He's put in a good shift today, and 2 goals at the end. So Hobart having to throw players forward, but it wasn't great there at the back. They were scythed through with ease. And this one, you can put it in the book. We've got one of our participants in next week's final, and will it be Olympia or University who join them? Obviously, Olympia will go in as red-hot favourites. You'll see how that goes tomorrow, but you never know. Where there's a Luke Hughes salute, there's a wait.
What a saying. That should be a mainstay. Throwing now for Tolkill. Almost party time for Zebras. You'd expect to see them right up and about. They love beating South Hobart more than just about anyone. The other team they love beating, Olympia, I think they'd like to meet them in the final and get a real monkey off the back. They've, in recent times, have not risen up in big games, in big tournaments, in finals. Next week, they will want this more than just about anyone. As Pearce shifts it out to the left. It's Hunt who brings it down. Ricochets off Walsh and out of play. South Hobart brings an end to a decent season, but a real strange season for them. Not used to playing second fiddle.
Yeah, certainly a strange position for them, but look, they've won the Lacquer Cup. They went and represented Tasmania very well in the FFA Cup. Beaten by a better side here tonight, I think we've got to say. The Zebras deserve their victory. Look, they're still a young side. They're building for the future, and whilst their stranglehold in the league has been broken, I think we all expect them again next year to be right in contention, as this one is cut out by Tolgill. He's had a very good game at TS Tolgill. He's been uncompromising as per usual and has read the game well. This one shifted out to the right now for Walter. His cross won't pick anyone out. Once again, it was Fag back there, and the captain has just led his side immaculately from the back today. He's been outstanding along with Harrison. It's been a really good centre-back pairing. There's a really nasty foul in here and a slice of cheese. There's this one, we don't want to see it boiling over right at the end. Well, just gives him a little kick after the play there. Not sure that was entirely necessary from Toggill there, but just a bit of salt in the wounds.
And straight away they've called for the sub. They don't want to be missing. They don't want to be missing Matthias Toggill next week for a silly couple of challenges.
No, we know what Olympia are like with Zawu and Hoi. They've got some very dangerous attacking options, and Toggill will certainly be very important in dealing with that threat next week.
Young Matthew Pace on, but Toggill stellar shift. Obviously didn't want to lose him through ill-decimal. He's that sort of player, Toggill. Likes to play on the edge. Ball coming in from Hunt into a crowded box. It's one from Lazinski, but goes high, and Kemp brings down, drops it off to Lazinski. Looks to spin with it. Thomas brings it out. Finds Walsh, who breaks away. Drops inside for Pace. Flicks it over. Goes straight to Lewis. Lewis long, looking for Lazinski. Tyler Harrison hot on his heels, as he has been all night. Sherman just helps it on its way. It's a high one. Won by Lewis. Pace. Straight to him. And he's still got the ball, Lewis. Down the line, he finds Walter. He sees it out with Tyler Harrison coming in. Jeez, he's been good tonight.
Yeah, and Fag, exemplary. As we're just going through the motions here, South Hobart know that this one's beyond them and probably just don't want to concede a fourth and make it even uglier. I'm not sure 3-0 really perhaps is a fair score on South Hobart. I don't know if it really reflects the balance of the game. No doubt Zebras have deserved the win though. They've been the better team. And they've absolutely made it count as Sherman goes to Engels, pumps it forward quickly and it's flicked on nicely and almost letting them in there. The battle of the 14s is won by Lewis and did well in the end to get it to Hunt. Ludford. Back to Hunt. Lazinski calling for it long. Floats over his head. Floats over all the heads. Engels is tracked back in the end and He seems to be playing in Tokyo's left-back position since he's been subbed off.
Well, that's where we saw Engels for most of the last season. It's probably where he's at his best, to be honest. Like, if you had an embarrassment of riches, Engels at a fullback where he can overlap, and he does it defensively as well. Don't worry about that. So a few tricks in the bag of the Zebras. Throwing now for Lazinski. Looks to really uncork a genie and go long. It's won by Harrison once more and out for a corner. Strong in the air is Harrison, and Jeezy reads it well. He reads it like a book.
Defenders have all night, really. Whatever South Hobart have thrown into the air at them has been pretty well dealt with, as this one is pinging around in there and letting fly with an ambitious shot there was Hunt, but floats over the top. And it's been that sort of night for South Hobart. It's just not come off for them in the dangerous areas around the box. They've not had the decisiveness that has been required, whereas at the other end, the Zebras been pretty ruthless. They've got 3 goals. A lot of credit has to go to the Zebras' defence, as we've harped on about all night. This one's flicked on, and Ludford wins the head up. There's Walter, a real player of the future, Walter. And he'll be one who I'll expect to see probably entrenched in their starting lineup next year. He's one that's been in and out this year, but a very promising future, I think, for Alex Walter as he turns it over here with the old commentator's curse.
I think South Hobart will be a lot different looking side next year. I think you'll see Ken bring in some people from interstate. They didn't do that this year. They have in recent times, but they didn't do it this year. But I think you'll see him again opt to go over to Victoria and pick up a couple of players and just top up this South Hobart team. As it's Schmidt tries an early shot from the edge of the box and Wright picks it straight up. Best on Tyler Harrison says Liam Scott over the tweet.
Completely agree. Yeah. Spot on, Scotty. He's been outstanding. He's read everything from the back. His partner's been good fag, but I think there's been about 3 goal-saving or at least top-quality chance-denying interventions from Harrison at the last moment, and again, just all over Hunt there, doesn't give him the room. This one's whipped in. Lazinski chests it down, looks to turn to his right. And well defended here, though, by Big Sherman. No physical battle, that one. That is just nowhere near. And again, it's been South Hobart. They haven't had the quality in the final third.
We're into added time, Drewster. You wouldn't expect too much of it. A couple of goals in the second stanza, but Zebras into a final. They've been into plenty of finals and they've come away with naught, so they'll really, really want to make next week's count. It gives them something to take away from 2015. A season so far that's been so much about missed opportunities for the men in black and white. Dropped in from Warren inside. It's from McEwen. He puts it out for Warren. Can he chase it down? The line beats him. Out of play.
Well, if they make University, obviously they'll go in as comfortable favourites. But if they made Olympia, to be honest, I'd almost favour Zebras the way they've ended this season. Olympia over the course of the season, obviously the best team, but they beat them the last time they met. And I just think the form they're in, the impact players they've brought in, Sherman and Buelle have solidified and they've got back. I think the way they've been playing over the past month and a bit, they've been the best team in the state.
Yeah, not necessarily a bad call. Obviously, the one blimp on the radar, that game against South Hobart when they last met. But against Olympia, they've beaten them twice this season, lost once over at Warrior Park in a slender 1-0 game, but geez, that was close as well, and Zebras didn't have the full complement. So really looking forward to seeing next week's contest. Of course, tomorrow will be at Olinda Grove for whatever that brings, Drewster. As it's played over from Warren to Pace, he hits it first time. The youngster can't quite test Pearce as he's easily down to collect. Zebras now in defence and they'll just control and just steady and milk the clock.
You got to think the whistle's coming any second here now in the 3rd minute. Can't be much more about the time. I suppose it was that injury to Muller, and we hope that he gets up for next week's game. It's a vital part of that engine room, isn't he, in his first half, particularly the first 25 minutes. He was probably the standout player on the pitch. But they'll certainly be hoping, and I think that's why he was hooked off as soon as there was a hint of injury, of course. They know they're going to need him next week, because they're coming up against an Olympia midfield that has been the best.
Yeah, their midfield will have plenty to do up against the best in the state, as you said. Be interesting to see whether Nick Moons gets up in time for next week. Some conjecture whether he'll even be right for the game against South Melbourne. So I think in an ideal scenario, they'd like to give him a run before that South Melbourne clash.
He's a big part, big player, Nick Moons. Glad to see him sneaking into the team of the year, as voted by us in the media. I think he's been a stellar part of that Olympia lineup, one of the players of the season for mine, and they absolutely would love to have him out there if they do make the final next week, and certainly for the National Premier League campaign, as Hess tries a rather ambitious volley, which turns into a pass in the end for Lazinski, who turns and just thumps it over the back of the cricket nets with a rather ugly effort, and yeah, they've not looked good with their finishing tonight, have they, Gilly?
No, a team that's so often lethal has been anything but tonight. Not many shots on target. They haven't tested right nearly enough. I think there was that one real chance, and it was a tremendous save against Man. And that's all she wrote. South Hobart's season is over. Zebras storm on into the Victory Cup final. A very, very good victory for the Zebras. They came to play, they came to conquer, and conquer they did. He was the first goal through Hay. It was Pearce who more or less made it for the opposition, threw it straight to the midfielder. And he took it with aplomb off the left upright and in. They gave him a 1-0 advantage. There was an arm wrestle from there into the second half. And then Zebras, well, they came back again, didn't they, Drewster? This one, a long, high ball, asked plenty of anyone under it. It was McEwen who rose high, timed his run to perfection, nodded in. Pearce just sitting there wondering what just happened, and it was 2-0 to the Zebras, and they looked home before McEwen put the cherry on top.
Yeah, got the third there at the end, and just a tough one that for Pearce. That was swirling around. It went a mile up in the air, so very hard for that one. The third one, absolutely no chance with there. It was sloppy from the back. McEwen played in. He got a second. He had a good night. Sherman absolutely loving that one, wasn't he? Just enjoying that good bit. And 3-0 it ends. A deserved victory for the Zebras, you'd have to say. I'm not sure it was quite the thumping the scoreline painted as, but no doubt the better team won tonight here.
Better team won, and South Hobart, strangely, out of the Victory Cup before the final. Zebras will go in there searching for silverware. It's eluded them for so long, Drewster, and they'll be going hard for it next week. Their opponent, still to be worked out. Tomorrow we'll be there at Alinda Grove University. The underdog, David versus Goliath. You have the Southern Championship champions up against the Victory League champions in Olympia. And that should be a fascinating clash up at what should be a boggy Alinda Grove. Home ground advantage on their side. Can they cause another upset, or will it be Olympia against Zebras and traditional rivals colliding next week?
Yeah, very tough outfit to beat at the Grove University, but I don't think they would have played anyone of Olympia's calibre in recent times up there. But we look forward to bringing you that one tomorrow. We hope you've enjoyed tonight. It should be a cracker. Looking forward to it. Who will the Zebras meet?
Who will the Zebras meet? Join us tomorrow from about 1:50 at Alinda Grove. For now, that's all from KG5. Zebras 3-0 victors over South Hobart.